Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
What is up, YouTube? I am back for the second time today, which is not very typical of me. I generally don't do more than one stream in a day. I had an interview set up with Monty Colvin of Galactic Cowboys earlier tonight, or this afternoon, actually. It was 5 o'clock my time, and that was killer. Monty is a great dude. Just had a super cool chat about, the late 80s and 90s. We both lived in Houston kind of around the same time. I was there a little earlier than him, and we got to learn a lot about, his early upbringing and moving all around the country, and then developing actually playing for a Christian artist named Morgan Cryer, I think was the guy's name, and how he got tied in with the King's X guys, and then how he ended up, moving to Houston to play in this Morgan Cryer's band, and then doing this band called The Awful Truth, and then he ended up forming the Galactic Cowboys. And we went through the first 3 albums. We didn't get into the later albums as much, except for maybe the last album a little bit, because quite frankly, I didn't own them, and I knew there was some albums there, but I didn't really know much about them, and I didn't want to get into talking about them if I hadn't really gotten into them or owned them. And I also knew that we'd be going quite a long while, so we kind of cut it off there. We talked a little bit about his solo albums with the band Crunchy. That was just the name of his band. I forgot to ask him why he called it that. And then we talked a little bit about his art career. So go check that out, because that dude is a pretty killer artist, and there's a link there to his website for his artwork, and you guys should go check it out. You might find something you're into. His prints are very reasonable. He does a lot of rock star prints and movie stars, and we also talk some sports. If you don't like sports, there's a little bit of sports talk at the beginning, at the end. So that was super cool. Thanks to Monty Colvin for joining me for 2 hours. That was freaking awesome. Let's see, what else? So I'm here to kind of talk about, honestly, one of the coolest bands that you all should know. And if you don't know them, man, I feel really, really bad for you, because you really should know them. They are a band that literally after the first 2 albums, they only put out 5 albums. They are a band that's almost unclassifiable. They're so difficult to talk about, or not to talk about, but to pigeonhole and kind of stick in a box, because when they started out in 1981, and they were pretty much a synth pop band in the Depeche Mode meets Duran Duran meets Ultravox meets maybe Blancmange, stuff like that. Very keyboard and vocal dominated. And by the time they wrapped their career up with the album Laughing Stock, they didn't resemble anything like what they sounded like at the beginning, except their incredible vocalist Mark Hollis, who was always kind of the driving force in the band. He's super unique, super distinctive voice that once you hear it, you either love it or you probably don't like it. That's kind of how it really is, kind of how to explain his voice. It's really, really, really difficult to quantify and sort of, again, explain. Mark Hollis just had this something, man. It was just something special. And I was supposed to be doing this with my daughter like a couple different times, and it kept being pushed away and kind of moved off in the distance, a lot because of my health, which we're going to talk about at the end of this video, and how that's going to affect my channel going forward. But and my daughter had a pretty stressful job that she was kind of getting acclimated to, a management position, and she was struggling to find the time to get the albums listened to. I don't know if I'm going to keep this background. I don't have a green screen, so it's getting all weird, but we'll keep it for now. But anyway, so long story short, I think that we're gonna talk about these albums. I'm gonna talk about these albums and the band itself, and how I got into this band. And that'll kind of do it. I don't think this is going to be a super duper long one. That's why I decided to knock this one out tonight and kind of finish this one off, because it's one I've really been wanting to just knock out of the, the album list that I have. That's not the album, the band list that I have. That's just monstrous. I don't know, there's got to be 60, 70 bands on there that I am contemplating doing stuff. Dude, John, I don't know what your deal is, dude, but see ya. Dude's in there talking about Aleister Crowley and all this bullshit. So my guess is that's probably one of those Travis Toilet guys or whatever. Just come back and I'll delete you again, and I'll keep deleting you, and see ya. Wouldn't want to be you. Anyway, what's up, Ryan? What is up, Mario? Hey, Cosmic Paul Barrett. God damn it. I forgot your name. Alex. No, not Alex. Oh God, dude. Andrew. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, man. It's been a rough couple weeks. I haven't talked to you in a while. You're right. So, but yeah. So let's get into Talk. And again, this is a band that's just totally unique. They're kind of often credited with kind of starting, art rock and maybe the post rock movement. I don't necessarily believe that, because I think David Bowie was doing art rock before practically anybody else was doing art rock. Hint, hint, go watch the 3-part David Bowie series. The first part with my daughter, second part with Eric Berg, and the third part with Eric Berg. But anyway, yeah, they just really, this is just a band that uniquely doesn't sound like anyone else, was kind of forging their own path in pop music. And they're just absolutely one of my favorite bands of all time, and every album of theirs is stellar for me. I love every one of the albums. I have favorites, but not really, man. Like on any given day, I can go with The Party's Over, which is pure synth pop, but it's amazing synth pop. Or I could go with Laughing Stop, which is nothing like synth pop, and it's almost this sparse free jazz in a rock context or a post-rock context. So let's talk about these guys. Now, I usually have an aid to help me on the side here. I have something I draft up in my email, and then I send myself an email and I pop it up. I did not have time to do that because I was working on a number of different things, a black metal thing that we're going to talk about, an anathema thing I'm working on, and all kind of other stuff. But so I'm going to have to cheat a little bit by using Wikipedia. I apologize for that, but all the detailed stuff I usually take from there anyways. So the first album we're going to talk about, which I do not own, which is really pathetic that I do not own this album. I almost bought it the other day. I was looking for there's a 3-pack. It's like a trio of albums, 2 of which are the first 2. It's My Party's Over and It's My Life, which I do not own those 2. I own the last 3 and some compilations. But the price tag on it was really salty. Their CDs, their albums are not cheap, man. Even the ones that are mass produced, you just don't find them for $5 or $6 or even $10. They're usually pushing 20, and the EMI ones from across the pond, they get kind of salty. And some of their compilations that are really somewhat difficult to find, like A-sides and B-sides, $70, $80. I'm just not spending that on CD. So I'm going to show you a picture of the cover artwork for The Party's Over, and we'll kind of go from there. Hopefully this works. There we go. So that is the artwork for this album, The Party's Over, the first album, which came out July 13th, 1982, on EMI, and it was produced by Colin Thurston, who, if you know your synth pop, he also did a couple of the first two albums by Duran Duran. Now, how did I come into this album? Well, that's an interesting thing. I very much definitively remember the very first time that I heard the song Talk Talk. And by the way, I'm thinking about playing some songs, not entire songs, but pieces of songs, which probably are going to get flagged, which may mean this stream doesn't stay up for long. But I decided people need to hear this band, so I'm thinking I may do that. And we'll see how that goes. If I get kicked off midstream, well, that'll kind of suck, but whatever. We'll just kind of run from there. But this album, The Party's Over. The first time I heard the song Talk Talk, which is the name of the song and the band, was 1982 when it came out. Now, it came out in July, and I'm pretty sure I heard it in the fall of 1982. I was a sophomore in high school. My guess is, well, I know for a fact Ryan and Andrew were not alive ever, not even close to being alive. Mario, I don't know how old you are. You were probably alive, but you might have been a youngin', because I think you're younger than me. Could be wrong, but I think you are. And the first time I heard this song, I was sitting in my 1976 VW, 1982. I had just taken out this girl named, I don't remember her last name, but her first name was Kim. And she was a cheerleader, and she was like smoking beautiful. Just was totally in love with this girl. Thought she was totally in love with me because she went out with me on a date. And then I came to find we're sitting in front of her house. I'm thinking, hey, man, we're going to make out. It's going to be awesome. This is the greatest thing ever. I finally got a girlfriend. And then she says, hey, Jeff, your friend John, I think his name was John Neerman. I think that was his last name. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, has he got a girlfriend? I'm like, he's got a lot of girlfriends. Every girl's after him. She's like, well, I'm kind of like really into him. I really, really think he's hot. I'm like, really? And just around that time, we're talking, right? We're talking. And the song Talk Talk comes on my radio, which was the coolest part of my car. I had as I said, I'm quite a bit older than you, Mario. So you were young when this came. In fact, you probably weren't born as yet. You weren't. So, this song comes on, and we're going to listen to a little bit of it here at the end after I get to talking about this album. And I just remember thinking, man, that song is really cool. Now, in 1982, I'm getting into Iron Maiden. I'm getting into Judas Priest. I'm getting into, I'm still into Kiss. I'm still into, I'm getting into a lot of metal, a lot of heavy stuff. Queen, Journey. I was a Journey guy. I'm still a Journey guy. I still love Steve Perry. And long story short, there was something about that song that spoke to me. And I never really forgot it, but I didn't go out and run out and get it. And they didn't say who it was. The radio back then didn't always tell you who was what. And believe it or not, I don't ever recall seeing this video for Talk Talk on MTV, which was very new, only about a year old by that time, maybe 2 years. And so I didn't really dig down deep into this band until much, 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 much later. And when I finally kind of discovered them was around 2000, 2001, maybe a little earlier than that, 99. Nah, it was 2000 when I got deeply into Steven Wilson and Porcupine Tree. But more so than that, I got really into Steven's other band called No Man with Tim Bonus. And by the way, I've done an extensive long interview with Tim Bonus. We talk a lot about Talk Talk on there. And the reason that I kind of dug into the Talk Talk thing was that Tim and Steve were huge Talk Talk fanatics. And you know it by listening to their early synth pop of the early 90s. 90, 91, 92, 94, in that age range, or in that range of years. That was the time frame they were referencing Talk Talk incredibly on a lot of their albums, particularly Love Size and Love Blows, Love Size, Love Cries. I mean, all that early stuff, Heaven Taste, very much influenced by Talk Talk. So, it's weird. I'm like, Talk Talk, Talk Talk. Where do I know that name? Oh, wait a minute. Is that how you do to me? Is talk, 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 talk. And then I'm like, that's the band. So I kind of went back in the early 2000s and kind of dug back into this band. And why I don't own The Party's Over, and it's the second album, It's My Life, I don't really know, man. I don't know why I don't own them. I've listened to them a million times, but I just don't have them, which is kind of bizarre. So let's get into this album here. Let's talk about it. As I said, the album single Today, which came off this album, was a top 20 hit. The remix version of the single Talk Talk reached number 1 in South Africa in 83 and number 23 in the UK. And in the United States, the album entered the Billboard Top 200, reaching 132, while the single Talk Talk peaked at number 75. Again, it was played fairly often on, that was probably a FM radio at that point in time. I seem to remember it being 96.7 FM here, if I'm remembering correctly. The band is consisted of Mark Hollis on piano, drums, guitar, pretty much everything. And yeah, like I said, I got to cheat a little bit today. Lee Harris on drums, and Paul Webb on bass. And again, the group achieved early chart success with synth pop singles like Talk Talk, It's My Life, Such a Shame. Those are both from 1984. Before moving towards a more experimental approach informed by jazz and free improvisation in the mid-1980s, pioneering what became known as post-rock. Again, I still kind of feel like there were other bands that were also on that cutting edge, but definitely Talk Talk was one that was pretty pivotal in that new development of what is called post-rock. So I'm going to take that down, and I'll come back here so you can see me a little better. So Talk Talk achieved widespread critical success in Europe and the UK with the singles Life's What You Make It, Living in Another World. Those were both 1988. And in 88, they released their fourth album, Spirit of Eden, which was critically acclaimed but commercially very unsuccessful. In fact, their last two albums were not successful at all, and they led to a lot of lawsuits between Mark Hollis and EMI initially, and then on the last album, they came out on Polydor, which we'll talk about when we get there. But there was a lot of Mark Hollis left the music industry after doing a solo album in, I think it was 90. When was it? I'll have to look that up. I don't remember. I don't own that either. It's good. It's fantastic, actually, but I don't actually own it. But he left the music industry pretty bitter, as a lot of people end up doing when they get out of the music industry and they find out that they're the last one making any money, yet they're the one generating the money-making apparatus for, the label heads and the managers and the tour managers and all those people. They make money, but the artist is the last guy to get any money in that whole line of attrition. And Mark Hollis kind of got the shits of it and pretty much disappeared from public life after his solo album, which again came out in, I don't want to not tell you when that came out. That came out in 1998. And so pretty much from the 2000s on, Mark Hollis kind of disappeared from more or less from public life. So let's go back to these tracks on here because, again, I don't unfortunately have those first two, so I don't have them to show you. But the first album, The Party's Over, starts off with Talk Talk. And, it's a stunningly killer synth track. It's a synth pop track, and I freaking love that song. I will always love that song. The synth lines and the melody lines in it are just absolutely cool as hell. And we're gonna listen to it, and I'll point that out. Well, you know what? Tell it. Let's do this. Let's just go through, and we'll listen to a little bit of it because kind of stupid to talk about it and then not really be able to listen to it. So here we go. You guys in the chat, let me know if you can hear this, please.
Anxiety was bringing me down. I'm tired of listening to you talking around, twisting around to make me think you're straight down the line. How you doing when you talk? How you doing when you
talk? Anyways, incredible synth lines right there, man. And that bass. Listen to that fretless bass. Popping, funky bass. So damn good, man. So damn good. This still gets played a lot out there. I hear it every now and again, like Andrew just said. You sometimes hear it on Muzak stations. Hey man, who gives a shit? There's a lot of good music on Muzak. Hey Malia, what's up? How are you? Good to see you. I'm sure you have heard it, Ryan. It's a very, very popular song. It was huge in Europe and Britain, and it was pretty big over here too. So excuse me, Talk Talk is the lead-off track. The next track is called It's So Serious. And again, just an amazing track. Just an amazing track. The interesting thing about this track is there's a local band, there was a local band here where I live called The Sharks. They stole the melody lines from them.
I'm filled with images that play on everywhere. No one to tell me there's a cloud before my eyes. Not only broken, I don't know the reason why. It's so serious. It's so serious.
So good. So good. All right. So we're off to a good start with this album, right? And at least in my opinion, we are. And, look, if you're a metal guy and you're in here and you want to talk metal like that earlier dude that I don't think he was a metal dude. I think he was looking to start some shit. But if you're a metal guy and you can't appreciate this music, I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you. This band is one of the most special bands you're ever going to hear. We're not going to listen to every single track because I'd be here all night. But this stuff, this is, Mario said it best here. It's poppy, but it doesn't sound dated like a lot of new wave and synth pop of that time. There's a couple other bands like Depeche Mode, like Ultravox, like Tears for Fears. There are a couple standout bands from that era that, Soft Cell. There's a couple of bands that just were a cut above. And I almost think these guys are a cut above the cut above, to be blunt with you. So Human League, ABC. ABC's The Look of Love. I mean, fucking The Lexicon of Love. Amazing album. So, and you got to keep in mind, guys, I am an old man. I am pushing 58. This stuff was happening when I was in high school, long before all you guys were born. So it means a lot to me, and I love sharing it. I hope somebody walks away. Mari already knows. Andrew already knows. But if you don't know, now you know. You're going to know more by the end of this thing. OMD is another great one. Phil, how you doing, buddy? Lots and lots of killer 80s synth pop bands that just go. You had to almost be there to know it, or you got to have older, parents that were into it that got you into it later, or something like that. For my kids, Ultravox is another one I'm going to do a deep dive on because I fucking love Ultravox, especially the John Fox and Midge year. Well, that is both eras, but just amazing, amazing stuff. Anyway, getting back to the album. So you got It's So Serious, another incredible song. And then we get to what was kind of the big hit of the album, okay? Other than Talk Talk, this was the other big hit. What's that bass? The synths on this are so killer. And that voice.
Numbers count as spell my name. Around as values change. Catch me if you can, but don't be late.
Today!
It's a free away.
The other thing to say about these songs, extremely complex melodically and dynamically. The little accent. Paul Webb.
Let me take the choice the summer
And every song, practically, is an earworm, man. You can't not hear the great melody line. Mark Hollis' voice is so incredible. Okay. Moving on. We're going to move on. And again, if you didn't hear me, I shouldn't talk over the songs. I apologize. I get super excited by it. But melodically challenging and complex, whether you think they are or not, they are. They're using a combination of synth drums and drums. The fretless bass. The guitar doesn't really come in to focus until the next album, the albums beyond that. But there's a little bit of guitar coming up here, especially on my favorite song. But every song is an earworm. Every song is melodically, it hits a sweet spot in your ear and in your head. And all the choruses are incredibly singable and memorable. The lyrics are actually quite depth. There's a lot of depth to these lyrics. They're not, boy meets girl type stuff for the most part. They're complex. So let's move on to, oh my God, this song is so incredible.
This one's the type of track.
This is a live track. I don't know why it's live.
It's called The Part Is Over.
You change. The look of laughter, my truth's no longer the same.
This right here, incredible. Oh no, coming off. No. This part right here is insane. Just amazing melodies, man. Now we're gonna jump up to my actual. This is my favorite song. I do. Listen to that slinky, fretless bass. Very reminiscent of Mick Karn of Japan, another band like Soft Off that became something other than what it was.
Will it get too much after the accident? Feel no words. I turned around and saw him hit the ground. A little earlier it was again. I guess the barrier must have dropped away. I don't like to read the news. You know anything I'm going through. I don't like to read
Man,
the
that,
news.
oh my god, that chorus is insanely good.
You know anything I'm going through. And she goes.
All right, we're gonna jump into this one real quick here. Up, no. We're gonna jump to the last track, Candy. Absolutely incredible. Got killer artwork. On the single, there's blood dropping from the eye, I believe. Or the mouth, maybe it is. Single for today.
You sure is some kind of body. It's a used for.
Exactly, Andrew. They're super layered, super dense, but also there's trace of the sparseness that will come. That little synth line there.
Doesn't look the same to me now. No, not me now. I'm inside.
Chorus on this is so good.
So bad. When I
Not the
try to turn away, then I left away. The idea you cheat me, but look again. What you say?
Right here's the chorus coming up.
That's not me. You used to
Nope, I missed it. Here. Get down to the end here.
My emotion cast me down. Did I look the same?
All right, cool. That gives you a sense of kind of gives you a sense of that album. I want to come back here. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second and look up the next one, which that if that wasn't cool enough, it just keeps getting better. I think, and a lot of people may not agree with me on that, but I think that they had a progression through regression is kind of what happened, because their songs got less and less dense and more sparse and more challenging to listen to, but in a really incredibly fulfilling sort of way. So on that album, I'm giving that album a 9.75 out of 10. I don't think you're going to find much below a 9.5. in this whole discography for me. But that particular album is one of the greatest synth pop albums that's ever happened. And, you know, it's just one of those things where once you hear it, you can't unhear it, and it kind of becomes part of your DNA, man. There's one song on there, Andrew, that I'm not crazy about. That is, it's okay. In other words, just I love it, but I don't love it like some of their other stuff. So let's pull up this album here. It's My Life, and we'll kind of jump into this one. But let me give you some deets on that one first. What I have here is It's My Life came out in 1984. Again, it's this came out on EMI and EMI America in the United States. Came out in February 1984. It was recorded during 1983. And Tim Freeze Green is the producer. Now, Tim Freeze Green becomes a massive part of the Talk Talk sound as they progress. Tim Freeze Green did a lot of production work. I don't know if he's still in the business or not, but oh yeah, he has a band called Heligoland. I don't know if they're still around, but he started his career as a tape operator and engineer at Wessex Studios, which is where they recorded Talk Talk, recorded a lot of these albums. And he worked with Hawkwind, The Rumor. He also did Thomas Dolby's The Golden Age of Wireless. You know, blinding me with science, science. That was him. He was a co-produced that. The Blue Zoo, 2x2, Praying Mantis. If you know new wave of British heavy metal, Praying Mantis, really killer, cool band from the 70s into the 80s. Actually, I think they're still around. Actually, did one really killer album. Hey, what's up? What's up, dude? So yeah, so that was that album. Now the artwork is from the album that we're going to talk about now, which is called It's My Life. And we're going to listen to a couple songs off of this. But before we do, let me give you some stuff on this. So this, let's see, it's the second studio album released in 94. Mike Oldfield's bass player, Phil Spalding, made an uncredited appearance on this album. Didn't know that. Substituting for Paul Webb. You were right, Andrew. On the song The Last Time. Paul was exclusively a fretless bass player, and they needed a fretted bass player for that track. Spalding admits to having played the whole session while disastrously hungover for that and foreshadowing the approach Talk Talk would take on subsequent recordings. Tim Freeze Green and Mark Hollis insisted that he record the whole afternoon and evening, multiple takes, despite the simplicity of the part. They were really into recording lots and lots of takes to get the best take, right? Excuse me. So the cover to the album was, the cover to the album was produced by James Marsh, incorporating elements of The Boyhood of Raleigh by John Everett Millay, it looks like. It's My Life was released February of 84 on EMI, was a top 5 hit album in several European countries, thanks to the big international success of the singles, notably Such a Shame. It was particularly successful in Switzerland, Netherlands, and Germany, where the album peak charted at 2, 3, and 4, respectively. In 2000, it was voted number 872 in Colin Larkin's all-time top 1,000 albums. In 21, Rhino Entertainment re-released the album on a limited edition, purple edition of vinyl. So there you go. So again, Paul Webb, Mark Hollis, and Lee Harris are the core of the band. We had Robbie McIntosh Morris on guitars. Phil Spalding did that one track. Ian Kernell played in the band live. He played a lot of the stuff in the studio, the keyboards, synthesizers that Mark Hollis didn't. Because Mark was predominantly a guitar player initially, and he played piano as well. Tim Freeze Green played synthesizer, piano, programming, and drum machine. So this one here is a stellar album, man. We're gonna Can't hear it? Wonder why. Can't hear anything? Now? Still? No music, just me. What the? Uh-oh. Did I get cut off? Hold on. Can you hear anything now? I'm wondering if they shut me off. Can you hear anything or no? I wonder if this person has it locked out. Hang on a minute. Let me know now. Hang on, guys. Huh. Very bizarre. Let's try this one. Anything? Trying a different source. Anything? Well, what the fuck? Anything? Can you guys hear anything? God, what a pain in the ass. I would have thought they would have shut me down versus cutting the audio. That makes no sense. Can you hear any music at all? No music. Can you hear music? Motherfucker, man. What the hell? Well, the only thing I can think is that they locked me out. Did you guys hear all the songs I played on the first album? Let me know if you did, because I'm baffled at this. Completely baffled. And that really sucked. You couldn't hear all the music in the first album, on the first one. You did hear all the songs on the first album. I don't get this at all, man. Don't get it at all. Wow. Very, 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 very strange. I really don't know what to make of that. Let me try a different album. Maybe it's just that album, but that doesn't make any sense. But I could play the first one, and then let's try. Let's move on to this album and see what happens here. Oh, you know what happened? I know what happened. I'm such a dumbass. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Man, one of these days I'll be a professional about this, but it's not tonight, clearly. I don't usually share music, so it's kind of, it's kind of been a weird one, but I think I figured out, I think I have an idea what happened here. All right, hold on. All right, ready? Let's see if this works. All right, let me know if you hear something now. Let me know if you're hearing something now, please. I think I figured it out. Got it? Hey, I'm a dumbass. Okay. So this is Dum Dum Girl. This is the lead off track. With a minor hit off the album. Great track. Lots of great fretless bass. Lots of atmospheric synth. Great big chorus. Cool atmospheric synth. Love that track. Alright. One of my favorite songs. Like you, Mario. A brilliant song. Completely amazing. A little bit of Fairlight there, I believe. Does sound like an elephant, I believe. Probably a guitar doing a whammy bar thing. Yeah, Andrew, I don't blame you, man. It's an amazing album. Got this long lead-in, almost a minute into a 5.5 minute song before it kicks in.
Such a shame to believe in escape, a life from every place.
And his voice.
That's a change.
But the chorus on this song.
Tell me to relax, I just stare. Maybe I don't know if I should change a feeling that we share. It's a shame. Such a shame.
Just absolutely amazing song.
Such a shame. Number me in pain. Such a shame. This eagerness.
Right here. Just mind-blowing for a pop song to be this rhythmically complex and this melodically complex. Alright, move on. I'm gonna skip Renee. We're gonna go to this one. This is the big one that I guess No Doubt made popular when, or kind of brought back into the consciousness of the world. And this was a huge hit. I love this song. I love it on Pop Talk. I'm not a big No Doubt fan. No disrespect.
If I could buy my reasoning, I'm paid to lose. One half won't do.
This part right here.
It's my love. Don't you forget. It's my love. It's my love.
Yeah, man, No Doubt did an okay job of it, but it's nothing compared to this version. Not even close. Okay, that was a huge one. And then comes we're going to talk about this track. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Just an amazing song right here. One of the most beautiful songs in the universe, it says right there. Everybody has to know it. I agree 100%. Just a mind-blowing song. Mark's vocals on this song are breathtaking.
Don't look back until you've tried. A line so openly alive, outside of you, it's just tomorrow's Friday.
There's some guitar. Although that might be keyboards, actually.
When I've been right, I've seen times when I've been chill, but still I'm fine. I'm just the bus that you take. Other reasons if you're
That little squeal. I'm 99% sure that's guitar. So freaking cool.
to be in
Yeah, I agree, Mario. Yeah, definitely, without question. It's kind of that subtle balance. Man, what a song. It's 6 minutes long, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. But, fucking incredible.
Don't look back.
And then we'll jump on to the last one. Kind of like almost a real poppy upbeat track. I love it though. This has a lot of OMD in it. It's almost very OMD from like that Napoleon Dynamite soundtrack song.
show begin. Bring out the clown. Fate is quiet. I've left it silent for the last time. Let the show begin for the last time. Sometimes one, sometimes each of us is right.
Okay.
Let the show begin.
Calling the Night Boy. Kind of a little bit Japanic, very Oriental and Arabian sounding.
Say goodnight. Every hour brings the moment of my life. Out of time. Every step I take, I further down the line. Here I stand, living behind. My eyes open wide. If you need me, you should try. Calling the night boy.
It's probably, I don't love this song as much as some people do. I like it, I just don't love it. All right, we're gonna move on. I skipped two tracks on there. Renee's a great track, and the last track is really killer too. I'm gonna go a 9.5 on this one, Andrew. I like it, but there's one or two tracks I don't particularly love on it. Still a cut above most. All right, we're gonna jump onto The Color of Spring here, and I'll give you some quick deets on that. And that came out in, this was produced by Tim Freeze-Green, came out February 17, 1986 on EMI, and was recorded at Battery Studios, where the other ones were, Essex and Battery. And this one here, written by Mark Hollis and producer Tim Freeze-Green. They wrote all the songs. And then, here, let me pull this up here. We'll do that before I get started here. Unlike previous Talk Talk albums, synthesizers are rarely featured on this album, being replaced by guitar, piano, and organ. The album went on to become Talk Talk's greatest commercial success, spawning the hits "Life's What You Make It," "Living in Another World," and reaching top 20 in numerous countries, including the UK, where it reached number 8 and stayed in the UK charts for 21 weeks. Color of Spring is commonly viewed as a bridge between the Talk Talk's earlier synth pop music and the more later textural improvisation-based post-rock. And I would agree that it is that. Despite the extensive use of synthesizers on the previous albums, Hollis was vocal in his distaste for them, stating that they were used primarily for economic reasons, and if they didn't exist, I'd be delighted. During the recording of the album, Hollis frequently listened to the music composers of Claude Debussy, Eric Satie, Bela Bartok, a lot of, out there kind of composers or unique composers, with the latter being a particularly significant influence on the album. Like other Talk Talk albums, outside musicians were heavily utilized. Guests contributing to the album include Robbie McIntosh guitars. Let's see who else he played for. I swear I know. He was with the Pretenders, Paul McCartney, Roger Daltrey, John Mayer, Jerry Harrison, Daryl Hall. So he played with millions of different people. Really, really fantastic. Let's get into this album. And let me cheat a little bit here. So this is Happiness is Easy, fantastic song. And we're seeing the song start to get longer and longer into the 5+, 6+, 7 minute range here. Getting away from the pop.
wrecks me happy, just a falling wrecks of who they assemble like mine.
You can really hear the No Man, the influence on No Man right here, big time.
After death, it's so much fun. Little sheep don't let your feet stray.
I love this chorus on here, man. All right, so it's kind of that one there. Where the heck? This is
Now the fun is over. Where the words begin, I'm trying to find the path ahead. Any way you say it,
it's a
the sure
unbelievable album.
but your eyes won't say it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, Mario. This thing still sounds incredibly present. It sounds like it could have been made in the last 5-10 years. It's just unbelievable. They just don't sound dated. Even the synth pop doesn't really sound dated. It's kind of that unique a thing, right? Now we're gonna jump on a little bit. I don't want to spend super long time on the tracks because I don't want to get too much better. Man, I love this song. I love this guitar line right here.
Baby, that's what you make it.
Man, that guitar line.
That's what you make.
Yeah. Highly unlikely, Andrew. Yeah.
Baby, that's what you make.
Huge hit for them. Probably the driving force on the record. Probably the most approachable and pop of the song. Not really, though. We'll jump up to Living in Another World. And these songs, this album in particular, very, very no-manny.
I see people crying. Truth gets harder. There's no sense in life.
Man, so good. Good game. I'm going to move it ahead a little bit, get towards the end. So good. Here. So incredible. Harmonica. All right, we're gonna go to one more. We're gonna give it up. Give it up. Another fairly big hit off here. Again, every Talk album is pretty much soup to nuts killer. Some are better than others, and some hit you differently depending on what your state of mind is, what's going on in your life, but they're all just stunning.
Watching rivers run black are the trees that are vacant to breathe. Gotta give it up. Gotta get a second chance. Gotta give it up. Gotta get a second chance. And the jigs just started.
Exactly. That's a great point. They really are.
Gotta give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up.
Whoops, sorry.
Gotta give it up. Well, tell me what I'm so wrong. Where does love come from? If you said your reasoning.
Okay. That's beautiful right there, man. The sparseness and dynamics of it, so cool. Alright, we're gonna go with this one.
Take a walk through enough misery. Gotta give it up.
Alright, so I'm going to move on from that one. Like I said, I'm not going to play every single track because that kind of ruins it. You should go out and discover these albums for yourself in a lot of ways. The next one up, they go even further away from the pop sensibilities that you had on the first two. A little bit on the third one, not a lot, just a little bit with like, you know, Life's What You Make It. There is a little bit of a pop vibe there, but it's not like super poppy. It's a lot more Spartan and sparse and kind of that post-rocky thing, that art rocky thing starts to move in. The tracks get longer. They get more dense, but not dense in terms of stuff going on in the tracks, more in terms of what you don't hear versus what you do hear. So you know, you've lost a lot of that atmospheric kind of like fill-in stuff of the synthesizer. By the way, in case anybody's wondering, I broke my left hand last Saturday night. That's why I'm wearing this. It's soft gas, but I actually broke the bone right, my pinky knuckle bone right here. Don't ask how it happened. Just don't ask. Anyways, so moving on to the fourth album, which came out in 1988, called Spirit of Eden. And this album came out on Parlophone. So they actually, I'm sorry, I said it was the last album. It's this one. They were already kind of having difficulties with EMI. They had done a lot of touring on those first three albums, and I think Mark didn't really want to tour. And these songs were written by Mark Hollis and Tim Freeze Green. They did this at Wessex Studios between 87 and 88. Often working in darkness, the band recorded many hours of improvised performances that drew on elements of jazz, ambient, blues, classical music, and dub. These long-form recordings were then heavily edited and rearranged into the album in mostly digital format. It was a radical departure from Talk Talk's earlier, more accessible albums. Compared to the success of 86's The Color of Spring, it was a commercial disappointment. Despite its mixed reception, the album's stature grew more and more favorable in subsequent years, with the contemporary critics describing Spirit of Eden as an underrated masterpiece and an early progenitor of the post-rock genre. In 2013, NME ranked Spirit of Eden at number 95 in its list of 500 greatest albums of all time. That's pretty hefty words there to be number 95 out of 500. In 2020, the same publication included Spirit of Eden on the best new wave albums ever. It wasn't new wave at this point. So, let's see. Although critics did not favor the band's early output, the first two albums were commercial. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm missing. What am I doing here? How'd that happen? Sorry, my notes are. Yeah. So Graham Thompson of The Guardian described Spirit of Eden as 6 improvised pieces full of space and unhurried rhythm, which blend together pastoral jazz, contemporary classic rock, folk, prog rock, and loose blues into a single, doggedly uncommercial musical tapestry, which would be labeled post-rock. And that's really pretty damn good, man. Simon Harper of the Birmingham Post observed the album's combination of jazz, classical rock, and the spacey echoes of dub, using silence almost as an instrument in its own right. And although the album is noted for its tranquil soundscapes, Graham Sutton of Bark Psychosis, and you should know Bark Psychosis, if you like this band, Talk Talk, you'll love Bark Psychosis because they stole a lot from Talk Talk. Noise is important. I could never understand people I knew who liked Talk Talk and saw it as something nice to chill out to when I love the overwhelming intensity and the dynamics of the song. So, yeah, absolutely incredible. Contract dispute with EMI. By early March 88, the band had finished recording Spirit of Eden, had sent a cassette of the album to EMI. After listening to the cassette, EMI representatives doubted that it would be commercially successful. They asked Hollis to re-record a song or re-record songs or replace material, but he refused to do so. By the time the masters were delivered in the month, however, later in the month, the label conceded that the album had been satisfactorily completed. Despite their reservations towards Spirit of Eden, EMI chose to exercise their option to extend the recording contract. The band, however, wanted out of the contract. I knew by that time that EMI was not the company this band should be with, said their manager, Keith Aspen from Mojo. I was fearful that the money wouldn't be there to record another album. EMI and Talk Talk went to court to decide the issue. The case centered on whether EMI had notified the band in time about the contract extension. As Part of the agreement, EMI had to send a written notice within 3 months after the completion of Spirit Eden. The band said that EMI had sent the notice too late, arguing that the 3-month period began once the recording had finished. EMI argued that the 3-month period did not begin until they were satisfied with the recording on the basis of the definition of an album in the contract, provided that the album had to be commercially satisfactory. The band disputed this, particularly on the basis that there were no changes made to the album in the space between its recording and eventual release. Justice Andrew Morit ruled in favor of EMI, but his decision was overturned, and the Court of Appeal Talk were released from the contract and signed with Polydor. So there you go. Yeah, this is a very different album, even than the last one. You want to listen to bits and pieces, not much. This album and the next one really are super influential on No Man, especially the album Returning Jesus by No Man, 2001, 2001. This is a song called The Rainbow. Absolutely amazing song. Probably my favorite song on the album. And they almost kind of get away from the typical verse, chorus thing. It's not like that. Oh, shit. Hang on. Man, I always forget to share screen. Sorry, guys. I'm such a dipshit. I totally forgot. This is a song called The Rainbow, as I said. I love the artwork too, man. So cool. Super low, chill atmosphere. I guess if there was a hit off the album, it would be this one, I Believe in You. Probably. And again, like I said, I don't want to play every song because I'm sure this thing's going to get... I have a bad feeling it's going to get struck down or maybe even removed. I don't know. Yeah, I know John Halm and Don Anderson. All the guys in Agalock are big into Talk. You definitely hear it's very improvisational.
In my spirit.
And I think Mark's vocals on this album and the next are just truly awe-inspiring.
The streets of young, they always step, and nothing in enough crippled. I just can't bring myself to see it starting.
Almost like if you walked into a jazzy lounge in the 60s, you'd expect to hear this kind of music. Atmosphere, exactly, man.
Tell me how I feel.
So atmospheric. That keyboard right there, Steven Wilson ripped off a million times. For No Man's Stuff. This is the song Wealth. Yeah, the reverb's insane, man. It's just the recording. Tim Freeze Green. Unbelievable producer, unbelievable engineer. Mark Hollis just heard things that most normal human beings don't hear, I don't think, in the creative process. Yeah, I could see where some people that are complete metalheads or only listen to a certain amount of up-tempo music would not get into this, but that's their loss because shit's brilliant. Brilliant.
Reflection on my flesh.
We'll skip ahead. I remember hang on a second.
Easter's and crowns.
And actually, No Man stole this from Top Top.
Another
Drum.
destiny lies legit upon the ground. Everybody needs someone to live by. Everybody needs someone. Everybody needs someone to live by. much out of fragrance, so much
Beautiful.
clearer.
All right. Okay, we're gonna move on to the last one, which is Laughing Stock. Hang on one sec. And this is their final album. And let me just give me one sec here. Gotta re-cue that. All right, I gotta remember to present it this time like an idiot. There we go. All right, so that's ready to roll. Now, real quick on this album, the final album that they did as a group, and it came out 1991. I'll give you a couple particulars on that real fast. It came out. Do you guys hear that talking in the background? Sorry, I was hearing another stream. September 16, 1991. Wessex Studios again, a famous studio. There's a cool documentary on Talk Talk that none of the people in Talk Talk actually were involved with. I'll get the name of it in a minute here, but they go to the old Wessex Studios. It's abandoned, from what I understand. They tried to buy it. Somebody tried to buy it and restore it, and the owners of the property didn't want to do it. I can't remember what the story was, but this came out on Verve in Europe and Polydor, and was again produced by Tim Freeze Green. There were singles, but I don't know, Newgrass, Ascension Day, and After the Flood, and Outtake. So this is the fifth and final studio, released in 91. Following The Spirit of Eden, bassist Paul Webb left the group, which reduced Talk Talk to the duo of Mark Hollis and Leah Harris. Then they acrimoniously left EMI and signed to Polydor, who released the album on their newly revitalized jazz-based Verve Records label. Was recorded by Tim Freeze Green, produced and engineered by Phil Brown. Like Spirit of Eden, the album featured improvised instrumentation from a large ensemble of musicians. Demanding sessions were marked by Hollis's perfectionist tendencies and desire to create a suitable recording atmosphere. Phil Brown stated that the album, like its predecessor, was recorded by chance, accident, and hours of trying everything possible as far as overdub ideas. The band split up following the release, effectively making Laughing Stock their last official release. Garnered significant critical praise, often cited as a watershed entry for the budding post-rock genre at the time of release. Pitchfork named it the 11th best album of the 90s, saying it makes its own environment and becomes more than the sum of its sounds. In a 2007 list, Stylist magazine named it the greatest post-rock album ever. So basically, there's a lot more. You can look this stuff up on your own. I don't really need to do that, but a stunning album, man. Probably my favorite because it's so unique, although it's fairly similar to the prior album. It just, there's something about this, man. It's atmosphere. A lot more jazzier, a little bit more free jazzish sort of feeling. It's a more shaped version of Spirit of the Eden. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, man. I should have had you on, Mario. I forgot you were a fan of this band. I should have had you on. I'm going to wrap up soon, but I next time, if we do something, I am going to do this new series I'll talk about in a minute, where I take what I feel is a band with one person. It's called, what did I call it? Shit. I have the name of the series already. It is called Definitive Albums Deconstructed. And what I'll do is I'll take one person and we'll agree on a band, and then we'll each pick our definitive album. Could be different. Could be the same, could be different. And then we'll deconstruct the album, going through each track by track, producer, production, just everything that we possibly can. So, yeah. Sure, you can try that. Yeah. All right, so let's do this quick. I'm not going to play a lot of this. I want you guys to go discover this stuff yourself. and because it's so well worth it, man. So well worth it.
Place my chair at the back room door. Help me up, I can't wait anymore. Blessed love, the love I've seen. Step by idle step, faithful perfumes gonna feel. Starting home, faithful perfumes. Starting home.
So chilled, so like just ridiculously mellow. It's just like, it's Andrew. Oh, you mean you want to do one, Andrew? Yeah, we can do one on Opeth or Agalot. Sure, we can do one.
Step right up.
Yeah, I love this song. And a lot of people would be like, "Yeah, it's nothing. There's nothing going on." It's like, nah, there's a lot going on. You're just not hearing it. For me. All right, let's see. What else can I do? Move up to Ascension Day. Very jazzy, very. I'll play a little Newgrass for you then, Andrew, and then we're gonna kind of wind down, I guess. I dig this song a lot.
Where did my hair kill the bed I burned on Judgment Day?
Hey, Nate, what's up, dude?
Where did my hair get hard into sentences? Farewell, mother, winter, and the veil too.
This is a good comment here. I'm going to jump ahead one track before I play it. The song gets like pretty intense towards the end. We'll go with New Grass here for the last track I'm going to stream, but I wanted to read that comment because it's an excellent comment about how you can definitely hear how Radiohead's later albums were influenced by this album and the one before it. And this is the name of the Talk Talk documentary. It's called In a Silent Way from 2020. It's really quite an interesting journey, although, of course, Mark Hollis passed away in 2019, I believe. And so he's not in it. Neither is Lee Harris, nor is Paul Webb. There are some of the other musicians that played on the album. The keyboardist is in there. Ian Curnow, I believe, is in it. I'm not sure if Robbie McIntosh is in it. I think he might be. I believe I'm pretty sure the producer is on it. And so there's people that are involved in making these albums that comment on it, but the three musicians are not involved in it. And I don't really know exactly why. Tim Freeze-Green's not involved in it. Their early manager's not involved in it, but it's well worth renting for like $2 on. I think you can get it on YouTube actually, or maybe you can even find it on Prime or something like that. It's called In a Silent Way. So we'll play this track and then I'll do a wrap up of everything and tell you guys what's going on with my channel and with my health and where I see things heading in the next couple weeks. You can almost say that about every one of their songs. All their songs are beautiful. Oh yeah, without question. Yeah.
Just come 7 seconds to sun.
Tell you what, this is great driving music, man. If you're out on a lonely, desolate stretch of highway where you're just maybe through the mountains or out in the desert, man, this shit is the bomb.
come, come
You also see it's a 44-minute album, and essentially almost every track is 8 minutes or so, or 7 to 8 minutes long. Some are 10 minutes. I think the first one, Merman's 5, that's actually the shortest one, I believe. Most of the rest of them are, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes, just long stretches of developmental music. So again, it's one of those things. If you're looking for immediate, if you're looking for an immediate sort of adrenaline hit, you're really not going to get it from this band. They're kind of a weird way thinking man's music, I think, in a lot of ways. They're progressive without being proggy. They are proggy. Even their synth pop albums are proggy to me. Yeah, Nate. There you go. Yeah, for sure, man. And I will tell you, the album by Beck, Sea Changes, very influenced by these two albums. And that's, for me, that's Beck's best album. I love a lot of Beck's stuff, but that's my favorite of his albums. And you can hear the talk influence. I think you can. So I hope this thing stays up. I'm not sure it will. Right. We're going to cut it off there. I am going to show you. I'm not totally just as I said, I do not own the first two albums on CD. And you guys know I'm mainly a CD guy. I wouldn't mind having all this stuff on vinyl, to be honest with you. So if everyone wants to chip in and buy me all these albums, I'll gladly accept them. I'm just kidding. So here's my original copy. Oh, you son of a bitch. All right, hang on. We're going to get off of this background thing. And we're going to go... We'll go over here and throw this one up. All right. So this is my original EMI copy of, or I'm sorry, this is, actually, you know what? Yeah, there it is. It was distributed by Network, which is a Canadian label. But I don't know if this is a reissue or not. I don't think it is. It doesn't actually have the date on there. Weird. Oh, there it is, 86. So pretty Spartan packaging, although you got to admit, their album covers just got cooler and cooler and cooler. The first one's really cool for what it doesn't show. The second and third ones are in there. I love these old CD packages where you can barely read the everything's so tiny you can barely read the lyrics and writing. But or maybe that's just because I'm an old man. I don't know. But yeah, that's Color of Spring. Like I said, I do not own It's My Life and Party's Over in CD format. Looking on the hunt. If anybody sees them real cheap, hit me up, like on eBay or anywhere where you find them in a store for a couple bucks. You want to throw them my way, I'll pay you back. And anyways, so this is Spirit of Eden, the original. Again, this is Parlophone Network in US. This one's a little better as far as the booklet, although you can't really read the scribble writing there. And you got to just love this artwork, man. The artwork is so damn cool on these final three albums, I think. Just amazing artwork. And then you've got Laughing Stock. Probably I don't know, man. I love both these album covers. I freaking love them. I love the white borderline and then the painting in the center. Just stunning. And they're all pretty Well, this one, Laughing Stock, has all the credits on the back, which is kind of interesting. Polydor, so that's an original. And then I have a compilation. This is the big one you can find out there everywhere. It's got, all the big hits on it, and then it's got, 2 live tracks? Yeah, Life's What You Making. Tomatoes started from Hammersmith Odeon Live. That's an EMI greatest hits there. Milking the Catalog. And then this one is called Introducing Talk Talk. What's cool about this is it's got 4 songs. For what it's worth, it's getting late in the evening. John Cope, Calling the Night Boy piano version, and I think April 5th are the tracks that were on an album called, or on a compilation called A-Sides, B-Sides. I have that, but I have it in CD-ROM. Somebody burn it and send it to me. Very hard to find. I found a copy on eBay recently, and I think it was about $120 or something crazy like that for a 2 CD disc. And it's a lot of tracks that weren't on the albums, different versions, 12-inch versions, as was the way things went back in the early 80s. You had 12 inches and 7 inches. And so, yeah, this is called Introducing Talk Talk. Again, super cool artwork. This is a 2003 copyright on this. So I don't know if that's when it came out or not, because it was 97, 98 tracks. But, yeah, that's the deal on what I own of Talk Talk. It's kind of unforgivable that I don't own those first 2 albums. I should, clearly, but hey, man, nobody's perfect, There's a lot of bands I own most of everything, and sometimes I miss a couple things, and it's weird. I never get out, and when I'm out, which isn't much these days because of my health, but when I do get out, I never think to go look in the Talk Talk thing. We were down in Baltimore for the Atheist show back early in July, and we went into the Soundgarden there at Fells Point, and my kid found a copy of Fruit Tree, which is the 4 CD box set of Nick Drake. But I was looking at all metal. I didn't even think to look at Talk Talk. Who knows? It might have been, probably every Talk Talk CD I wanted was probably in their used bin there, but I didn't even go through it. So, but anyway, so as far as ranking, man, almost impossible. I probably would go Laughing Stock, Color. Yeah, let me look here. Probably Laughing Stock. Probably, I'm gonna go Color of Spring, Spirit of Eden, It's My Life, and Party's Over. But you know what, man? I love every single one of those albums. They're incredible. We got a 2-hour stream out of this, and it should have only been about 35 minutes or 40 minutes. But with playing the songs, that kind of made a big difference. Now, whether this stream stays up or not is anybody's guess. I don't know whether they will. I mean, all these other people post their albums up and they stay up. I may have to put something in the description about, I'm not, there's buy the original albums. I'll look on other people's posts or just, descriptions and see what they put in there. I don't own the rights to this stuff. I don't, obviously. And I kind of go from there. But, yeah, Talk. Fucking brilliant band. I'm glad I had lovers of the band in here like Andrew and Mario and Phil. Well, Phil said he didn't really know the band, which is interesting. I'm surprised, Phil. You disappointed me. No, just kidding. And we got newbies like Ryan and Malia were in for a little bit. And I don't know if anybody else jumped in here and didn't comment, but Nate, I don't know if you were familiar with them before, but it's, cool to have you in here. And I know, Nate, you're kind of into a lot of various different genres. So if you don't know these guys, you really should, man. Not a lot of guitar, no sweep picking, no alternate picking, no tremolo picking. Sorry, dude, it's just not there. Doesn't need to be. You know that, man. Killer band, writing amazing songs with just creatively complex compositions, harmonically, melodically, just amazing. And there are a bunch of compilations. And when I say a bunch, Well, let's just take a look here. I'm gonna guess. Oh, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I bet you there's probably 40 or 50 compilations, all with various different versions of a lot of the same songs. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. They do have 2 live albums, London '86 archival and in concert, which is where I believe that Light Switch or the song off of It's My Life I played, The Party's Over, came from. They had, oh shit, I forgot about the EPs. I think they're pretty much the same. I don't own those, but I think they're on the, the first one's Talk Talk, Serious Today, and Candy. They're already basically, on the following albums. Then they have a mix called It's My Mix, which has bunches of remixes of My Foolish Friend, Talk Talk, Why Is It So Hard, which I don't know that song. Dum Dum Girl, Such a Shame. So that's a remix album. I'm not always huge on remixes. And then there's the mini album, mini LP from '86, which has 12-inch remix or 12-inch mix of Such a Shame, Living in Another World 12-inch mix, Life What You Make It 12-inch mix, It's My Life 12-inch, and Talk Talk 12-inch. So as far as compilations go, yeah, 37. Oh, no, wait. 18. My bad. The best one out of all of them, though, is A-sides, B-sides. The very best of Talk Talk. Laughing Stock CD collection, which is really cool. It's a 3 CD. I've seen this before on eBay. I think the guy wanted like $300 for it. I'm like, yeah, no way that's happening. No way. Yeah, I'm going solo tonight, brother. You can jump on if you want. If you want to talk about Talk, get it. If you want to talk about Talk, Rick, I'll send you the link. If you want to jump on for a couple minutes. What else? Introducing is another really good one, which I just showed you. And Essential from 2011. So yeah, a lot of compilations that have a lot of mix and matches of the various things and various songs from different albums, and just absolutely incredible. You heard of them for a while, but that's the first time you're hearing the music. Dude, I know you love them in the right mood and setting, and I agree. I'm not always in a talk mood, although I could listen to them anytime. Particularly driving, great driving music. And, just, man, one of my top 10 favorite bands. I'd probably say that about every band I do, but definitely one of my top 10 favorites. All right, so anybody got any questions about the talk stuff? We can knock that out quick if you want. I'm going to get into some things that may or may not happen soon. Actually, I probably should do a separate stream of that, but I'm going to do it anyways at the end here. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. Rick, check your DMs on Instagram if you want to hop on for a few seconds. I'm not staying on long, 30 minutes most. And if you don't want to jump on, that's fine. I know you probably want to get to bed. But anyway, yeah, if you want to jump on, cool. So, let's see. Where do I start? Let me pull my notes up, because I'm an old man and I can't remember things very well. So, upcoming events. I've got 2 interviews that are about to be scheduled. One with Duncan Patterson, who played with Cradle of Filth, played keyboards in Cradle of Filth, I believe. I think he was keyboardist. And then also was a big-time contributor to the early Anathema albums, from Serenades up through, and some of the EPs, I believe, up through Alternative 4, which is my favorite era of Anathema, but I love all Anathema. And speaking of Anathema, we'll get to that in a minute. Also, hoping to talk to Paul Masvidal in the next day or two about coming on to do an in-depth interview in the next 10 days or so. And then Kelly Schaefer was probably going to jump on with me and Paul for that to talk about the tour that they did back in June and July. And kind of wrap that up, dovetail that into the Paul interview. So that's coming. This Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got Black Metal Island, which I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but Rick just grand slammed it out of the park. Absolutely fucking destroyed it. He just wrecked it. I mean, it is so cool. I pretty much gave him the concept of the Teletubbies and being trapped on an island and the blurbs that they, the funny things that they're saying. And that was, but everything else was Rick, man. Rick just slaughtered it. Way above my pay grade for making up. You see my stuff. My stuff is 1 or 2 layers tops. I'm not very good at the masking thing. I haven't really figured it out effectively. I figure out ways around it, but I cannot touch what the master of disaster, Dreadful Rick, does with these thumbs. So he's been doing the ones for the Island series. Rick is unfortunately not going to be able to make the actual live stream. He is hopefully going to send us a video of his top 10 picks. But he has a wedding to go to, and it's going to kind of interfere with what time we're getting started and all that stuff. He's not going to be able to do it. So that's coming up. That includes Jimmy from Future Ruins, Jake from the Upside Down Church, Kellen from Killing for Company, Logan from Drunken Metal Musings, Tyler from Alaskan Bergs Wanderer, Devin from Maze of Torment. Those are the U.S. participants. The UK and Euro participants are Roger, I can't say his name, Jordovic, Peter from the Metal Vault. I don't know Peter's last name, I don't think. The Metal Vault. You guys should know that on Instagram. But dude, I think he's going to be the hands down. Him and Jake are probably going to be the hands down, and Tyler are going to be the crushers as far as, and Jimmy too, man. I am way out of my element. I'm the least black metal-y guy in the crew. That's okay. The series, if I'm well enough, which is a huge thing now, huge thing. But I'd like to continue it on and do like a prog metal desert island, and which Nate, you'd be perfect for that, dude. Just saying, we got to meet first and talk first, obviously. But yeah, and a prog one, and maybe a blues one, and maybe a jazz one, and who knows, man? Who knows? That's off in the future. I mentioned my deconstructed series I'd like to do, definitive albums deconstructed, which is where I'm going to take one person, maybe my usual crew, maybe new guys like Andrew or Nate or Mario, and I have them on. It's just us, and we pick a band. We agree on a band. Let's say it's Rush. Who knew it would take me this long to mention Rush in a live stream? It took me 2 hours and 3 minutes. There you go. Yeah, so we pick on a band that we like, maybe throw 5 bands at each other and see if one sticks. So let's say Nate and I decide Cynic. And we say, well, what's their definitive album? Well, we're probably going to pick the same one. Maybe we won't. I would probably pick Focus, although Traced in Air is pretty up there. The new one's pretty up there. I'd have to think about it a little bit. But what we would do then, even if we pick the same album, we get together and we deconstruct the album track by track, production, writing, blah, 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 blah. We do all that stuff. And it's basically a 1 hour show. I'm not going to do 3 hours of talking about one album. It's just not, or 2 albums rather, even if, see if Nate and I both pick Focus, we'd kind of be able to work together off of it. But if he picked a different one from me, maybe it'd be different. Andrew and I, say we do Opeth and I pick Blackwater Park and he picks Ghost Reveries or whatever. We both get to kind of pick those albums apart and talk about them and kind of rip them apart. So what that's coming, but I don't know exactly when, to be very blunt with you, because a lot's going to hinge on the next few days regarding my health, as is all future things. So the other thing to talk about then is on the 20th, of August, Eric Berg and I are going to, we're going to dig apart the Jethro Tull catalog. We're going to do all 24 albums, but it's going to be 2 episodes. It's going to be 2 probably 4-hour episodes, I'm guessing. There's 24 albums, I believe. Or yeah, well, there's 24, but I think we're doing 22 because one's a Christmas album and the other's like an archival album. I don't think well, we may do Living in the Past. I'm not sure. Now, as an aside, we're going to talk a lot about these. These are the 30th anniversary editions, or the 40th anniversaries, not 30th. 40th anniversary editions of all of the albums. I have everything up through oh, come on, Jeff. Oh my God. Are you blanking out here? Oh, fuck. What's after Heavy Horses? Oh, it's got North Sea Oil on it. Stormwatch. So I have everything up through Stormwatch. All 40th anniversary sets. I have every single one now. I have Thick as a Brick. That was the one I was missing. Now in September, they're putting out Broadsword and the Beast, which is one of my favorite albums of theirs. Certainly the best. The last really fantastic album they did. That's from '82. That doesn't come out till September. Maybe, possibly, we'll be into that second group of box sets, and that'll be in that. So, but Eric Berg and I are going to do that, and we're going to do 11 and 11. That's kind of the plan. And the plan is to do the first set on August the 8th. Hopefully I'm here to do it. Hopefully I can do it. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Also, I want to try to get another Forgotten Metal Gems in with Dennis. Might slip into September, although he and I can kind of go weeknights sometimes. So we may try to get that in. We're going to talk about Warrior, 1 album by Warrior, 2 albums by Warlord, and an EP by Warlord, 2 albums by Tyrant, 3 albums by Vicious Rumor, 2 albums by a band called Nonfiction that I do not know, and 3 albums by King Cobra. Only one of those albums is any good, to be very honest with you. But we'll talk about all 3. And they just put out, I think, a new one that is, it's not very good, from what I heard. And then the last thing to discuss here will be an Anathema deep dive. And originally I was going to do a crazy, like, big panel deep dive on Anathema. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think we're going to stick with maybe 3 or 4 people, probably 3. Right now it's looking like it's going to be me, Jimmy, and Serge. And maybe I've asked Derek Vella from Tomb Mold to join us. Whether he does or not, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't heard anything, so maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. So those are the things that are planned. Now, the bad news of all this is that Thursday night I had to have an emergency CAT scan, and if you're paying attention to me, I struggle to get my words out. I struggle and suck air from time to time, and it turns out that a CAT scan on my lungs and my abdomen showed that I have the lower bibasilar lobes of my lung are collapsed. They don't really know what's caused it. There is no fluid there, but it's affecting me pretty intensely, and I am certain it's from nerve damage, and I'm certain it's this autonomic neuropathy tearing me apart now, because I would say ever since after Yob, midway through June, I've been plummeting pretty hard. I'm having a lot of trouble walking, having a lot of trouble being upright, severe dizziness, dysphoria, severe shortness of breath. I can't stay warm, or if I'm warm, I'm sweating balls, and 2 or 3 degrees difference cooler. I'm shivering and shaking. I'm losing the periphery of my vision. I'm having a lot of trouble seeing things out here. I can't really see movement until I come all the way up to about here. I can't, it's. And I was officially diagnosed on July 17th with sensory autonomic neuropathy and peripheral polyneuropathy. They don't know what caused it. They have no idea. It's generally a terminal condition. My neurologist seemed to think that I could live 2 years. She's full of shit. She didn't even do any tests. I think she's full of shit. I like her. She's cool. She actually used to date one of the guys in Horrendous. Weird. She brought that up in our last appointment, which blew my mind. But because she's from the Philly area. And yeah, so I don't think she's right at all. And in fact, I think in the next day or two, I'm going to have to go back to the ER and demand that they put me in the hospital for a couple days and figure out what's going on. That's why I'm a little worried about Saturday night. I'm hopeful if I go in tonight or tomorrow that I'd be back by then, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that's kind of it right now. There's certainly lots and lots and lots of stuff in the future. I'd like to ask people to go watch some of these interviews. I know they're long. I know they're investments of time. Watch them in chunks. I've been thinking about breaking them up into parts, but that takes time and energy, and I don't have that a lot of the time. I'm shocked I've been going since about 5 o'clock. I won't be able to get out of bed tomorrow. I won't be able to barely move if I do, and that's why I said if I don't go to the ER tonight, I'll probably end up not being able to do a damn thing tomorrow at all. But yeah, so those are the things I think that are like immediately on the horizon. There's so many great deep dives, and I hate to say this, I'm not doing this, okay? I'm really not, because my stuff isn't uber super professional, but it's earnest and heartfelt and exciting, my excitement and my guest's excitement. And there's a lot of good stuff out there, man. That Thin Lizzy, man, I'm shocked that it only has like 400 views. Like, that blows my mind. And I get it. I only have 730 subs. And I appreciate all you guys. I really, really do. I super do. I sometimes feel like I should have a lot more. But my stuff is kind of unique because there aren't a lot of people doing 4, 5, 6 hour streams on bands or 2-3 hour interviews. But today I did a 2-hour interview with Monty Colvin from Galactic Cowboys. If you don't know Galactic Cowboys, you should go check them out, man. Fucking killer band, especially the first 3 albums. So good. If you like King's X, you'll really, really, really love. You'll love Galactic Cowboys. If you love metal, you'll like them even more because they're heavier than King's X, believe it or not. A little more thrashy, a little bit more metallic, but a lot of killer 4-part harmonies, just amazing harmonies, amazing songs. So that, go check that one out. The Ed Archer interview is doing very well. I'm really excited about that. The Magnum deep dive with Cloudy Milder, man. Go check that out, dude. Go check them out, man. They're fucking great. We go for 5 hours talking about 24 Magnum albums, man, and we're both like shit deep hardcore Magnum fans, which a lot of people don't know about that band, and they should. They're so good, especially the early material and a lot of the mid-period material. So, I'm not begging people to do anything here. I know most of you guys watch me regularly and you touch base with me privately and DMs and things like that, and I really appreciate that. And I've asked you, Nate, to maybe join us, and I know you're a little reluctant to, and I get it. And Andrew, we'll get around to having you on, dude. Although you and I talking at the same time might be tricky. I might have to muzzle you at some point in time because it's my show. I do the lion's share of the talking. I'm just kidding. I'm just busting your balls. Yeah, man. I mean, the Marissa Nadler thing you just brought up. Yeah. Amazing artist. Just stunning. So stunning. And one of my faves. So there's a lot more that I want to work on. Boards of Canada. Who's doing deep dives on Boards of Canada? I've only seen 2 documentaries that normal people did. And they did great jobs, by the way. Fantastic jobs. And I credit them and link them in my deep dive. But, man, who's doing a 4-hour deep dive on 4 albums, or 3.5 it was, something like that. On 4 albums, well, no, it was more than that. What was it 4 EPs? It was like 8 albums and EPs mixed of Boards of Canada. Nobody's doing that, man. Yeah, so let's see what else here. Anything else to share real fast? I'm just checking real quick. Just making sure. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so like there's another thing. I really want to do a Virgin era Tangerine Dream. Well, actually, it would be the Pink years, the Virgin era, and the Blue years. I might do the Pink and the Blue as a bookend thing, and then do the Virgin as one sort of thing. I want to do the Sabotage catalog. I want to do, believe it or not, you might laugh, I really want to do Europe, man. Europe has some ass-kicking, badass albums. If you're thinking just the Final Countdown, wrong. That's their pop album. Armored Saints, another one I want to do. Soundgarden. I want Brian to do Soundgarden with me. He probably left already. Dokken, Autopsy, Bauhaus, ISIS. I mean, XTC. I got a huge stack of XTC albums. I have all of them. I want to get into XTC. It might be me that ends up doing that, but I like to do it with other people. It's just a lot more fun that way. And, you know, I feel sometimes like I'm burdening a lot of people because they don't have the time to do this like I do. But, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. And I think that's kind of it. Just double check something here quick. I guess Rick didn't stick around. He must have bailed out fast. He ran for the hills. the minute I invited him on, he ran for the hills. 1 second here, guys. So yeah, so that's kind of it. I think anybody got any quick questions? Yeah, I have a very weird sleep schedule. Brian, are you serious? You only know Bad Motorfinger? No shit. I did not know that, dude. I would have thought you would have known most of them. Holy crap. That's a bit of a surprise there, yeah. Yeah, XTC Skylarking, fucking phenomenal album. Top 25 album for me, maybe even top 20, 15, something like that. Yeah, amazing album. And the XTC is kind of like Talk in that they never really did a bad album, although I don't like the 2 post-punk albums, Go and Go 2. I'm not a fan of those at all because I'm not a punk dude. So Soundgarden or Alice Chains. Dude, come on, man. You picked the 2 bands I love the most from that genre. The rest I can, you know, there's a couple I like My Sister's Machine, and I really do love Mother Love Bone, but they didn't really do much. My 2 favorite singers, Nate. 2 favorite singers in rock of all time. Lane and Chris, and both are gone. Man, I gotta go. I barely. By a smidge, I gotta go Alice. Just barely, man. I was listening to the FOP EP and Ultra Mega OK 2 weeks ago, maybe something like that, and I just totally forgot about, you know, Tears to Forget and Nothing to Say and Far Beyond the Wheel. Oh my friggin' God. Chris's voice on that song. Untouchable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, my 2 favorite bands. You know, there are some other bands from there. I'm not a Pearl Jam dude. After the first 2 albums, I'm out. Well, actually, Vitology is okay, but it's not great. Not a Nirvana fan at all. Never was, never will be. Never was big on Mudhoney and Green River. Not my thing. Hang on. Well, I love Cornell. Love that man. I will tell you that when Cornell died, that's the only time I literally, about 2 days later, I found myself listening to the album Euphoria Morning, which was his first solo album, and one of the greatest albums ever made. That's a top tenner for me, Chris Cornell's debut solo album, Euphoria Morning. And I just suddenly found myself weeping, crying like a baby, because I didn't understand why. I didn't get it. Still don't fully get it. I mean, I'm dying and I'm not likely going to pull that. But he was in a really horrible marriage, I believe, from what I understand. I think his wife is kind of a wicked human being, from what I gather. But he also was struggling with a lot of stuff. So, yeah, impossible choice. That's a correct answer, exactly. But I just AIC just wrote. There are some albums, there are some songs on the early Soundgarden albums that they're okay. They're not great. The last album, not the last album, King Animal. I like it. I don't love it. It's great. It's good. It's solid, but it's not great. The one with Blow Up the Outside World. What's it called? Burden in My Hands on it. Down on the Upside. Kind of lukewarm on it, but I love Super Unknown. Love it. Love it. Even with the exception of Spoon Man, I never want to hear that song again. Love all the other songs that have been overplayed. Fucking love Bad Motor Finger. Oh my God. Love that album. I freaking love Loud Love, or Louder Than Love. Am I missing one in there? I don't think I am. Slaves and Bulldozers, man. Oh my God. Fucking insanely good. But yeah, I never got into the punk element of the grunge scene. It's just like Mudhoney, Green River. Those bands didn't do a whole lot for me. No, I don't like that Spoon solo, dude. Just don't like it. I hate that song, and I love Soundgarden, but I can't stand that song. It's like Sweet Child of Mine, or what's another gun song I can't stand? What's that one song? Is it You Should Be Mine? That Use Your Illusion should have been one album. All the good songs on it. Yeah, I like Tad. Tad's pretty cool. Dude, Sap's killer. Am I inside? Am I inside? Da, 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 inside. Or It Ain't Right. Oh my God, that album rules. And let's be honest though, Jar of Flies, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. Fucking brilliant, man. Yeah, Axel's voice gets on my nerves too quite a bit. I like some of the more lesser known songs, but Axel, man, I saw him for Use Your Illusion, dating how old I am now. I was like literally about 20 feet away from him. I was like in the third row of gold circle seating. He spit on me, no lie. And after that, man, I just never paid attention to anything they did. And you could give me front row seats to see Guns right now, and I probably would say I am good. Probably would be good. Don't really think I would even bother going. It's just not, especially now. His voice sounds terrible, weak. The falsetto is very weak. Yeah. So I think that's kind of it. Let me check one quick thing. Give me 1 second here. I'm just checking one thing out here real quick. With my buddy Chuck, who I've not seen in a while. And And actually, that brings up something I wanted to remember. Chuck is a huge Ultravox fan. And Ultravox is another band I definitely got to do. I have all the John Fox material, and I've got two. I didn't show this on anything lately, so I'll show you guys now real quick. But I've got two of the bear with me a second here. So I've got the two 40th editions, 40th anniversary editions of the Ultravox albums Vienna, which is a masterpiece in my opinion. Oh, and I did kind of go over this in one of my sharing a six packs. It's a slipcase with like two different wallet envelopes of all kind of photographs, and I think there's 5 CDs and 1 DVD, and this one is, what is it, 4? No, this is 5 CDs too, and a DVD audio that I believe Steve Wilson did. Yeah, Wilson did the 5.1 mixes on Rage for Eden. Man, this album is good. I didn't know this one that well, and I checked it out a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago. I was like, oh yeah, gotta get this. Rick, are you jumping on here? I sent you the link. I think Chuck might jump on if you want to jump on for a few minutes. Man, this album is so fucking good, man. Both of them. Vienna, like you said, dude, so good. So again, the same deal here with this one. These kind of envelopes that have all the CDs in little slip cases on the inside. And then there's another one in here that has all the, I guess, promo photos, and there's a packet of, big nice booklet on the creation of the album. And I just think Ultravox is the shit. All right, dude. Well, I wasn't going to stay on that long. Anyways, maybe 30 minutes or so. But yeah, so that's one that I want to do is Ultravox. I definitely want to knock that out, hopefully at some point. And Chuck might be joining me here in a moment. Let me see what he says. Oh, yeah, he's going to jump in. If anybody's going to stay up for a little bit, we might talk for 30, 40 minutes if you want to ask us some more questions. Nate, you want to jump in? You don't want to jump in, right? Andrew, you probably got to get up and go to work, I'd imagine. If you guys wanted to jump on, I could send you links if you want to pop on for a little bit. Brian, you're probably working. You got to work tomorrow. Room 1,000 Years Wide. Love it. So good. But yeah, Spoon Man sucks. You want to join, Andrew? All right, I'll let you on, bud. I'd say at the most we're going to go an hour. That's tops. Let me see if I can find you in here, dude. What do you call the cosmic? Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Shit, why are you not coming up, dude? Oh, that's why. Hang on. No, you're not coming up. Andrew. Oh, Celestial, that's why. I thought it was Cosmic. No, never mind. All right, dude, I just sent you a link. Hang on. Yeah, I want to see you with your rollers in. Exactly, yeah. Brian, lock's not flowing so well. If you want on, Brian, I'll send you a link. That's up to you. I gather you're just figuring, fuck it. You're being funny, I believe. I think you're being funny. Mario, why? Fucking brilliant, man. Especially the early stuff with John Fox, but the mid-year stuff is, quite frankly, better overall. The John Fox stuff is a little more post-punk, new romance or new wave, whereas the Ultravox mid-year stuff is more the hey buddy, what's up?
Hey,
what's going on, man?
How you doing? Pretty good.
Cool, man. Nice to meet you. I'm shaking.
Nice to meet you.
Can you hear me?
Gonna, brag on myself a little bit.
What's that now?
So I'm just gonna brag a little bit.
Oh yeah, right. Let me do me a favor. Is there any way you can bounce your volume up a little bit? Go into either your mic settings or just bounce your volume up just a smidge. I can't do it on my end. Yeah, I think Chuck, my buddy. Do you know who Chuck is? Do you ever see him on any of my deep dives? We do the proggy ones usually. I think the last one he was on was what did he do? He did Moody Blues with me. And Ryan.
Yeah, I probably have. It's just been a minute.
Yeah, cool guy, man. We go way back. In fact, I met Chuck. This is Cosmic in the flesh. He's wearing a Ghost t-shirt.
I couldn't have the Goat Lord shirt on for once, or like the Cult Black Metal.
Hey, look who's here! What's up?
Hey man, what's going on?
What's going on, dude? How you been?
I've been all right.
Meet Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Andrew is a Kentuckian. We won't hold that against him.
I was just gonna say I won't hold that against you.
Land of Mitch McConnell.
Oh God, fuck that guy.
Although, didn't he speak at some event like over the weekend and he got literally drowned out by the booze?
Yeah, they were chanting retire.
But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
All those people chanting retire were from one group of people, probably predominantly. The most vilest of vile human beings on the planet, the Trump supporters. So there you go. So I don't know. To be honest with you, I'd rather be stuck with Mitch McConnell than anything to do with Donald Trump for the rest of my life.
It's a shit shoot, though.
Yeah, if we didn't have Mitch McConnell, we would have Merrick Garland on the Supreme Court and not Roberts. So he fucked up that whole process.
True. Well, that was purposeful, of course.
Yeah. So anyway, they're all evil.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I missed I missed Rick's.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I ate something that gave me a little bit of.
Not feeling so hot.
I didn't feel so good after I ate it. Just put it that way. I don't know what it was, but so.
Hey, look what Dad got me.
Who got that? Oh, I mean, you must have that because it's in your hands, right? So what is that?
I do, but Dad got
Dad got it for you.
Dad got it. Wink, wink.
Where's my copy?
Huh?
Where's my copy?
I'm working on it. Dad's working on it. So that means I got that one, and then I got this one too, which you've seen that one.
Oh God, I love those two albums.
Well, we got to talk about these guys. That's going to be our next project, I think.
Perhaps. So what are those, LPs or CDs?
Oh no, these are the CD box sets with the 5 CDs each with all the bonus remix, 12-inch, blah 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 blah. All the Steven Wilson remixes, remasters, blah 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 blah. DVD audio 5.1. I think it's DVD. Yeah, it's DVD. It's not Blu-ray, but yeah.
It'll fit nicely on your LP shelf.
They'll fit nicely in my casket.
Anyway. Hey, what was it? Speaking of Wilson, didn't he just remaster something? What was it?
Well, he did the Roger. Oh, he's doing.
He just had a listening party.
Yeah, what the?
2 weeks ago.
He did the Rick
Oh,
Wright.
Richard Wright.
He
Richard
did the
Wright.
Rick Wright thing, but there's another thing he just announced. What the hell was it?
Is he doing Gilmore's first solo album too?
No, it's not that. Hang on, I because it kind of caught me a little off. Hang on. It's hang on. All right, here it is. Oh, ABC, the Lexicon of Love. You know that one?
Nope.
You don't know Poison Arrow? Shoot that poison arrow through my heart. You don't know that one?
Keep singing. It might come to me.
Shoot that poison arrow.
I'm
And then
kidding.
the other side, the look of love. You remember ABC?
No.
Oh my God, dude. Killer album.
I remember the Jackson 5 doing ABC when it came out.
No, I love that ABC. ABC's the band name, ABC.
Okay.
I think that album came out in 80. Yeah, it was 82, The Lexicon of Love. They had that hit song, The Look of Love, and the other one was Poison Arrow. You know it if you look up Poison Arrow. You'll hear it and be like, oh, all right, I kind of remember this. But he just did a super duper Blu-ray 5.1 blah 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 with that. So Brian says you had a case of the green apple splatters. I don't think I want to know.
Kind of like his whatever that thing is. Looks like a
his
splatter thing that he decided to use for. Is that a Rorschach design with tentacles on it?
No, it's Cthulhu. The Cthulhu creature from
Black Lagoon. From the Black Lagoon.
No, Cthulhu. Help me out here.
A tentacle. He's one of the ancient ones or whatever with the Cthulhu.
Yeah, what was the writer's name?
H.P. Lovecraft.
Lovecraft, thank you. Yeah. Lovecraft.
Okay.
Call of Cthulhu. You don't remember that?
No, I don't. That's.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, Nate, he did do that in the 40th anniversary box set, which I have showed many times. I have that one. That is the box set that has the 5.1 Blu-ray in that one. Steven did, and man, that's a killer box set. But Rush's box sets are out of control now. Like I got both those Ultravox box sets for $65, $55, $65, something like that. The Rush box sets for the last three, Signals, Moving Pictures, Permanent Waves are all going for like over 200 up to 300.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm not paying that.
There's
for shit I already have.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some there's like a black metal album that I want on Discogs. It's going for like some douchebag selling 3 of the 4 copies of it on Discogs for like $200.
What is it?
There's a black metal album called Symphony Satanica by Dark Lord, and there's 4 copies of it on Discogs, and 3 of them are sold by the same guy, and they're all like $200. Like, what the fuck?
He's
like,
cornering the market.
Yeah. And then the 4th guy selling it at $300. So I'm like, well, I'm kind of screwed.
Well, things are out of control on the vinyl front, dude. There's gonna be
This is a CD.
There's gonna be a kind of a breaking point with that. I think where people are gonna be like, man, I'm already seeing it right now. Albums are upwards of $35, $40 now. And that's just bullshit. They weren't that way 2.5 years ago before the pandemic. Now it's all supply chain, blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, you're gouging.
It's greed. It's what it is.
Right. You're
even your local, Goodwill and Salvation Army stores, they up the prices. I go in there, I could buy a record for 50 cents, and then somebody informed them that they could charge $5 an album and people will pay it. It's like shit. You used to get 10 albums for $5. Now it's 1. So I'm more picky now at those places, but
yeah, they're doing that. You're right. And you go into
the vinyl bubble is gonna pop.
What's that?
The comment here by the human falafel.
Yeah.
Vinyl speculation bubble is going to explode.
I agree.
I agree.
And it probably should, because when you start getting into the practice, I mean, Andrew, you're kind of into that, cult black metal stuff that everybody lines up when they find out about it, and it's like, oh my God, I got to get it, and my life won't be complete if I don't get that latest one of those 50 copies of Lamp of Murmur. Now, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal.
No. I've heard it all. I mean, I'm wearing a Ghost shirt. I don't really have any shame.
Right, that's true. Good point. But I mean, it's
I'm
like
going to see them at the end of the month if that makes it even worse.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I look at, it's like I'm not going to fall prey to this bullshit cash grab of, well, we're only going to make 200 of these albums. Like, I remember when Hallucinogen came out from Blue Dust Nord back in, what was that, 18, 19? 18?
I think 2019. That was a great album.
Yeah, and the first 250 copies were this cool purple, pink thing, and I'm like, man,
I don't give a fuck about.
Well, the only place you could get it, but the only place you could get it was through Devin Mormorty, right? And I'm like, man, and that was when shipping was starting to go out of sight. I'm like, I'm not paying $40 for shipping of a $25 album, so I didn't get it. And then what happened within a year? It started to come out in all kind of other iterations. It's like, I don't need it that bad. Now, I say that, and I did fall a little bit prey to the latest DAN. I did pick that up, and they kind of hoodwinked me because they didn't announce the U.S. distro info until 3 hours after they put the Euro stuff up, and I pulled the trigger on the Euro one, $28 euros for shipping.
Jesus,
I paid almost as much for the album for shipping as I did for the album.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive coming from Europe to here.
Yeah,
I ordered a signed. There's like a Norwegian band called Taka that I was a really big fan of. I ordered a signed copy of it from the guy's in-house distro about 5 years ago, and even then the fucking shipping was like €20 and the LP was €23. So I was like a broke 15-year-old out $60 almost on a single album. So I mean, like, shipping's just kind of always kind of screwy overseas anymore.
Yeah. Nate's asking if you heard of Darkened Shade.
The name is very familiar. But I can't name an album off of the top of my head per se. But I've definitely heard the name.
Hang on 1 second. Chuck, what'd you end up doing, man? Did you buy that yurt, or where are you at on that?
No, I didn't buy it.
You're not going that route, or what?
I don't think so now. After researching and talking to my buddy, it's his younger brother that has it. While I was trying to determine if it was fair price or not, I did some poking around and went to the actual manufacturer's website. And I ended up at another site that had nothing but just yurts for sale, and found one that had all this extra components meaning dishwasher, stove, oven, refrigerator, freezer, wood chipper, solar panels, inverters, battery storage, and a shipping container that it came in. And so it's like, well, if I can get all this other stuff, I'm set, because it's like everything you need to live in it, plus the power with, solar panels and a generator. I mean, talking to him, he's like, well, he's got all that stuff already that he set aside for me. It's just a matter of getting it up to my property. And there's another concern too with yurts. They are not fireproof. So in this day and age in California, where fire seasons are pretty severe, especially where my property is, it's just a matter of time before fire comes through there. So there's another prefab concrete houses that you set up. You have to do some work. You have to do some carpentry work and some window work to them, and then the interior. But you bury them with dirt.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, I've seen those. Yeah. So you
so it almost looked
become
like a
earth
hobbit
and
house. So it's like, well, dirt doesn't burn, so that's a resistance right there. So I think
yeah.
I'm leaning towards that more. If I'm going to outlay several $1,000s, that's about what these things cost. It's just a matter of the labor going into it. And I got people that I know and friends that are electricians, carpenters, plumbers, and so forth. So it's just a matter of
Would you you'd
getting
have
some
to hire like
fingers.
a backhoe or something like that, I guess.
Yeah, I could actually, the Home Depot up there, they have them that you can rent. But there's been several people out there that have hired backhoes to come out there, and I'm sure I can get one for fairly cheap because there's not a whole lot of demand up there. So, so I think that's the route I'm going to go. So,
Cool.
start doing that in the fall when the weather cools off. It's been like 100 degrees every single day since July 1st. So, I have
Is
not.
it really out near you?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, dude, that's crazy.
Which is another reason to go underground, because if you're underground, you have
A lot cooler.
it's a lot cooler, So if you've ever been in a basement or an Adobe building out here in California, the old Adobe missions that have like walls that are 4 feet thick, made out of mud and straw, and it's 100 degrees outside and it's 50 degrees inside. And there's no AC. It's just the building itself. So
Andrew, where are you going to college at, dude?
So I was just going to like my local community college. I haven't been back since the spring. I'm just
really?
Yeah, I'm just currently working at a certain home improvement store that was just named. I will not say who they are.
I got you. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just in case that.
Are you going back in the fall or no?
Right now I'm thinking no, but I'm always open to going back. I've got like at this point I'm kind of thinking about just kind of staying with the job I've got right now, and then like I've got a really, really killer guitar teacher right now, and I'm trying to, I kind of want to eventually like finish like learning all the music theory and maybe like teach guitar lessons on the side, because again I've had a really killer guitar teacher in the past, and my current one's a very skilled shredder.
Yeah, that's the dude that's playing with Worm.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Phil Tuga. I kind of keep that one on the. I haven't told a shit ton of people about that, just because. I mean, the dude's like one of my big heroes. Well,
but I mean, does he actively pursue students? Is that what he does outside of playing? Yeah.
It's on his website.
Where's he located at?
I believe Quebec. It's like Longwood.
Oh, really?
Quebec. Yeah. And
what other band does he play with? What's his main band?
I think his main band's like First Fragment.
Okay.
And Catalyst is the other one. But
Catalyst, that dude. Yeah. Okay. What's his name again?
His name is Phil Tuga.
Okay, yeah, I know who that is. Yeah, yeah. I think they're actually isn't Catalyst playing Maryland Death Fest?
I think they are. That's like I'd go to that, but it's like a good 8-hour drive for me.
Well, dude, I'm gonna tell you. I mean, it's an hour for me, but I will say, like Nick's coming in, he's about 10 hours away.
Did I say 8 hours? I meant more like 15 hours.
Is it really?
From Western Kentucky to up there, it's like 12, 15 hours.
I don't think it's that far, dude. I drove to Nashville in 11 from where I live. So
okay, I'm only 2 hours from Nashville.
I say it's 8 or 9 at most. I think it's 8 or 9 at most. And I will tell you that you're probably not going to see that many killer bands from the genres you like, death metal and black metal. You're not going to see them anywhere else.
So I've got 5 shows lined up. I'm going to see Queensryche next Saturday, and then in Beaver Dam, which is like 45 minutes from my house. And then I'm getting to see Sacramento in a couple weeks. and Ghost, and then I've got Alice Cooper and Cannibal Corpse lined up. So I'm like really putting in like the time because a lot of those bands aren't getting any younger, obviously.
True, yeah. Alice.
Alice Cooper isn't he playing with? Isn't he touring with somebody? I know out here he's appearing, and I think he's playing with.
I think he is, but the show I'm seeing it looks like it's a solo one-off show.
Cool. More time with him on stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I never saw Cooper, man. He was probably
Really?
one of the very early rock metal dudes that was kind of like, you know, a hero for me. School's Out, 1970. What was that, Chuck? 74?
73, I think it was. Spring of 73.
Was it?
I think it was when I was, because it came out. Well, if it wasn't spring of 73, it was spring of 72. I definitely was in middle school. And it was released a week or two before we went on summer break. So.
Let's see here. When did you say it was?
72 or 73, spring.
You got it, 72. Yeah, man. So I was about 6 or 7. And I remember that very well here in School's Out and being like,
oh, yeah.
Man, I want that. I want to be that dude right there. That's cool, right?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. And I got it on 8-track tape. I want to say I probably got it around probably 75 or 6, somewhere in that range. You know, when I was starting to get into Kiss and get into, you know, that.
You start purchasing things, right?
Yeah. So. And you know the good old days of 8-tracks. What lovely devices they were.
Pieces of shit. I never bought one. I never had a player. I never bought an 8-track tape. My friends that had them, it's like, why do you listen to this? You know, we had an option. We had cassette tapes also. And the 8-tracks, they would fade out during the middle of a song. And it's like, why do you tolerate this for? You know. But there's also. Didn't happen all the time, but sometimes you'd have the vinyl, and if you bought the cassette would have the songs in a different arrangement. So what might have been the opener on the vinyl was like the third song in on the first side or something like that. So you get used to hearing the vinyl, and then you put the cassette in, and it was just all what? It's all
then
wonky.
you get to the end, and it gets all warbly, and then flips over.
Yeah, that's true.
When you rewind it, oh man, those were awful.
Yeah, they were.
Those are the bad old days, so to speak.
Yeah. Although the iRobot cassette tape that I got is still sounding pretty damn good these days.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I think I had that one too, man, from back in the when was that? That was 77?
77, yeah.
Killer album. You ever hear that? Andrew, you ever hear Alan Parsons Project, iRobot?
I have not heard iRobot. I've started getting into him lately. Like, I can't remember what album it was. Was it like Turn of a Lonely Card?
Turn of a Friendly Card, yeah.
Yeah. We'll blame it on
that games people play.
Mm-hmm.
People play.
iRobot's a classic album.
That's a killer album. So is Tales of Mystery and Imagination.
Yeah, that was his first. Second was iRobot. Even Pyramid album was pretty good too.
Pyramid's good. Turn's good. Eve is okay. That's the one with Damned If I Do on it.
Yeah.
The last great one was The Eye in the Sky or
something like that.
Yeah. Half of it's good, half of it's
Yeah, he's another one that's touring too right now.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, I think well, if he hasn't played here, he's playing here in the fall. He's playing he's playing like in Napa, so that's at least an hour drive for me.
Do you have any shows lined up? I mean, you had kind of gone to a bunch, and then what you got anything on the horizon?
I do. I am trying to get some tickets to see a band called Poolside that is playing. They're playing at Outside Lands on Sunday, and among with 600 other people that are going to be out in Golden Gate Park this weekend. But they're doing a club show Thursday night.
Right.
And a lot of bands that are coming in for Outside Lands are doing these gigs outside. So they're doing a club show that's associated with Outside Lands, and then they're. But anyways, I snoozed on getting the tickets. My friends that I went with last time, which was 5 years ago, they haven't appeared here since then. They were in France, and they didn't get back to me until I got back, and by that time, tickets were sold out. It was Bimbo's, that club that Gary Newman played at.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so I've been trying to get tickets through Cash or Trade. I found one seller, but I was too late, and I don't think I'm going to have success. Although the 15th of this month, I am going to see Peter Frampton. So I'm taking my daughter.
Oh, you're going to see him?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Did you see that little clip? That was
I did. Madame, why are you not home in bed?
That was freaking hilarious, man. That was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was
so
so
that
cool.
You liked that on my feed, and it's like, what? Jeff's following Peter Frampton?
Oh, yeah, man. I love Peter Frampton, man. Man, actually, it was funny. I was talking to a guy today. I had an interview with a guy named Monty Colvin who played bass. Well, he still does, but the band's kind of on a long hiatus, but played for a band called the Galactic Cowboys. And I
heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, out of Houston. Kind of King's X-y sort of kind of. And he, we were talking about, he's your age, close, not quite your age, but wait, what are you now?
64.
He's the same age as you.
Okay.
We were talking about those formative albums. Like, what are those albums that really grabbed you and drew you in? He's like, well, the first Kansas, Frampton Comes Alive. I'm like, dude, we all fucking, Frampton Comes Alive was like, even though it really wasn't all that live, or a lot of it wasn't live, it's like, dude, that was like just seeing Peter Frampton on the front with that freaking Black Beauty Les Paul with the 3 pickups. You're like, that's so cool,
You know the story of what happened to that guitar?
Sure, yeah, of course, yeah. He got it back. He's got it back. Does he
20,
play it?
25 years later or something like that?
He doesn't take it out though, right? I don't think he takes it
I don't
out.
know what he does with it, but he writes about it in his book. So cool story,
I don't think he actually plays out with it at all now.
He may not take the chance because last time when he toured with it, that time he got lost. It was fortunate it didn't go up in flames in that plane crash. So it was salvaged and somebody kept it for 20 years and played it. But so yeah, I mean, Frampton Comes Alive was definitely springboard for him. That just put him in the stratosphere. Everybody had that record, and if you didn't, you heard it on the FM all the time.
Sure.
But I was into Frampton before he released that album. I had like 3 of his albums before that.
I can't remember. You were at that show or not at it?
A friend of mine got me a ticket. My parents wouldn't let me go, so he brought somebody else with him. So missed it by that.
I was telling Monty tonight. I was like, we were talking about our first concerts, and I was telling him my first concert was Kiss, but in 1979. But it really would have been Kiss in 1977, except for I was being a big shot, a cool guy. And I was hanging out with these girls that were older than me by 2-3 years. And I'll never forget this one girl, her name was Jackie. I was really into this girl. I thought I had a shot. Even though she was like 15 and I'm like 12, right? I never had a shot. But she was very well developed for 15. Very well developed. And I thought, man, I'm gonna be cool here. I'm gonna lock this in. I know it's gonna happen. So my mom's yelling at me to come down for dinner. This is 1977. So actually I'm 11, not quite 12. And my mom's yelling, dinner. And I'm like, fuck that bitch, man, or something like that. Fuck that old lady or something like that. What I didn't know then, what I should have known, but I didn't know, was that my mom literally had like bat-like hearing, right? She had like sensory, like some kind of sensory system. She could probably hear somebody in the next county. If it was my voice, she probably could have heard me like 25 miles away.
She was on the payroll of the CIA because she had that aerial long distance hearing,
Dude, she comes running down the street, man. And this is, when she was in her 40s, early 40s, late 30s. She was running down the street, man, and I had pretty long hair, not this long, but long. She grabs me by the hair. What? What'd you say? What'd you say? You want to say that now in front of your friends? Want to say that now? I'm like, oh, I didn't say anything, Mom. Drags me up the street and tears my Kiss ticket up for Love Gun, 77. And then she's like, well, that was that. And then, this is 1977. So she taped it back together, gave it to the neighbor girl. That was it. Off she went. The neighbor girl, that is, to the show.
Yeah. She tell you about it? Kind of rub it in a little bit?
I don't remember. That's too long ago. But the funny part of that is I then went to got to see Kiss on the Dynasty tour in 79. And then you'd think I would have learned my lesson, but no. About 4 or 5 months later, in like May of 80, right before we moved home, my buddy got tickets to Triumph, the Progressions of Power tour, 1980. It's like, dude, I got tickets, man. We got some weed, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah. Mouth off to my mom again. He's like, where were you going to go? And who are you going to that show with? Carlos? Well, tell Carlos to sell your ticket because you're not going. So that's 2 shows. 2 out of my first 4 shows, my mom cut my throat on.
Well, my mom just didn't think I was old enough, and going to a concert, and you got to take in consideration too. It's like 6 years after the Summer of Love, and that whole thing that went down in the, in San Francisco. You're not going to go up and see a concert in Winterland.
Who are you going to go with?
A neighbor, classmate, and I think his older brother was a couple years older than us, so he was probably 17 or 18. So he could drive.
He could drive.
And I forget who else. So he ended up going and said it was a great show. And then lo and behold, in spring of next year, comes out with a live album. Hello, San Francisco.
Andrew, did you see this?
See what?
Hold on. See if I can. All right, here we go. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, the Black Metal Island.
Did you see that, Chuck?
I do.
Did you see the? You know who those little 2 characters are in there?
Oh, Teletubbies! I grew up.
Teletubbies, man. The UK.
For bonus points, which Teletubbies?
What's that?
And for bonus points, which Teletubbies?
Oh God, I forget which one's which.
It's not
Rick
the one with
did
the purse.
the colors, so Lala was yellow, right? Somebody from the from UK will have to tell
you
me.
got me there.
Yeah, I forget what the colors were. But the best part is they're wearing corpse paint.
Yeah, they
upside down crosses on their head. And the one says
lamp of Murmur demos.
And the one said, no, I say I thought you said Varg and Euronymous would be vacationing here, you lying bastard. And then the other one says, can a brother get a good ludifist around here anywhere? So the concept was mine, but Rick just crushed it, man. Absolutely fucking crushed it on it. We're doing this black metal stream on Sunday, or Saturday rather, 7:00. So we'll probably do something afterwards, but we're doing top 10 black metal albums. So I know you'll want in on that, right, Chuck?
I'm going to be busy.
I'm going to be busy.
I'll find something to do. Before I forget, Jeff, that guy Steph that you and I know, he's out on tour, and
yeah,
so he's posting some wonderful pictures on his Instagram page. But he just posted like an announcement. He's got a channel now.
Oh, really?
And if I can find it, I'll forward it to you, which won't be that hard to find.
A YouTube channel?
I'm not sure, but he announced it on Instagram, and it's like, well, he's kind of late to the game because all my friends
We've been doing this
Rick has
forever.
beat him to him by 3 years. You know what took him so long?
Yeah. What's his?
All right, let me see if I can find it.
What's his name of it? Is it Shirazi or no?
No, I don't believe so. It's got a title like.
You think he'll still want to do that interview?
I think so, or maybe he wants to interview you. Who knows?
Hey, that would be cool. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to interview?
Because you're Jeff. Is it Kiefer or Kiefer? I forget. I've only known you for
Kiefer. What?
I just know it's Jeff. There's no other Jeffs in my life. Except my cousin.
Good Lord, dude. We've been friends for 22 years. You just asked me that? For real?
I'm just trying to be polite.
You fucker, you.
Fuck me.
Hey, Ryan, I'm going to probably wrap fairly soon. I don't want to go too late. So kind of I'm probably gonna have to wrap up in about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. I don't want to be up all night because I didn't get very good sleep last night. So, but so yeah, while you're looking for that, Andrew, so how long have you been playing now?
I've been playing for like 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. And I had a guitar teacher for most of that too, but he was like a classic rock or like my generation would call classic rock or dad rock, and what you would just call like your era of rock. So
have you ever seen Nate play, by the way? Have you seen Nate play?
No.
Dude can smoke, man. I'm not kidding.
Anybody can smoke my ass.
What's that?
Anybody could smoke me a guitar. This
seems that way. It seems that way, yeah.
But
no, you mean you said you, or you mean
anybody could smoke me a guitar?
Oh, smoke you? Okay.
Like
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm a pretty decent player, but Nate's got some chops, man. He can wail a good bit, man. There you go. He's asking you who are your big guitar influences.
So my number one biggest hero of all time is Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth. Of all the dudes out there,
sure.
And then like Don Anderson and John Hamm from Agalock are really big for me, but that's more of like as a songwriter. And so like my big shredder favorites are Phil Touga. I've become more of like an Yngwie guy lately, and then
really?
And then John Petrucci's probably like my all-time favorite shredder. Like, in my opinion, he's got like the full package of like he's got an amazing feel, he's got great technique, but he knows when to kind of pull back when he has to. It's always very tasteful.
Did you say you went to the Dream Sonic thing or not?
No, I wish I did, especially seeing Devin sing "The Spirit Carries On" with them on YouTube. I'm like, if only.
But it kind of made my thing about Dream Theater anymore is I just can't take Labrie. I just cannot take his voice. I just don't like it.
I really like his singing on Images and Words, and
sure.
And he was like my favorite singer of that type for the longest time. But there's this guy named Daniel Heyman. He sang for like Lost Horizon.
Oh God, yeah.
That dude is possible. No, I'm just gonna go ahead and say he's probably the most talented singer in heavy metal alive today. Like,
does he sing live though? Does he sing live anywhere? Because I've never really looked it up and seen him.
I don't think he sings live very often, and I think it probably ought to stay that way so he doesn't wreck his voice.
But I'm wondering if it's studio or not. That's the thing,
because you can hear all these different layers that he does, but he sings all of it. But I know I've seen videos of him play live, and he nails it.
Okay. But I know Marty loves that band like to death, and it's not bad, but it's just not my thing. I'm not the big power metal dude. I'm not, the main reason I kind of drifted away from I probably stopped digging Labrie about Systematic Chaos, Black Clouds. I just was kind of like, man, I'm just spent on him. I just am not enjoying what he does anymore. And he was great at one point in time. Love his vocals on Awake, Falling into Infinity, Images, of course. You know,
He
and
sounded
even some
great
of those albums after that, obviously.
on Metropolis.
Yeah, for sure. But I just, you know, there's better guys.
Octavarium, where his voice kind of starts falling into that weird monotone, or I don't want to say monotone, but it kind of starts falling into that mid-range of his voice. That's kind of where, and he kind of doesn't really have the power to do anything anymore, which is kind of unfortunate.
That's the thing. He doesn't have that Devin power. I mean, Devin has all that fucking intensity and brings it out. He may not be perfect all the time, but he just has such a powerful voice. And
I think something that they could do to help him out a little bit is maybe like tune down to D for some of those more extreme songs. Just like, I know they were doing E flat for some of the Images and Words stuff a few years ago, but I think they could go down another semitone, and I think
it might have even done so by now. I don't know. We almost went. We had 8th row seats in the bucket. And I ran across one of those videos, early videos of that tour of Devin coming out and singing Trading Off. And I was like, man, do I really want to sit through a 2-hour, hour and a half set of Dream Theater at this point? I just don't know that I do.
And yet you went and sat through a Feldman set, huh? 5 miles away.
What's that?
And yet you sat through a Corey Feldman set.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
You like that? Yeah, actually, that's funny, man. He literally is playing 5 miles from my doorstep, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I think the tickets are, I don't know, something stupid like $25 or $35, like $20 too much. But the best part is $125 VIP, you get, I don't know what it was. Well, here's the thing. It's $125, but then you got to pay the $25 for the ticket. It doesn't include that. But you get to have up to one item he will sign that you can bring. You get a photograph. You get early entry. Like, dude, do you really think there's going to be more than 45 or 50 people there? Like, really? Why do I need early entry into this club that's got room for 500 people, right? And then they're like, oh, but if you buy stuff at the gig, he'll sign all that stuff. I'm like, wow. So $150 to see this clown. Never going to happen.
Yep.
Never going to happen. In fact, at the same venue, which is right over the road here, like I said, 5-6 miles away.
Yeah.
One of the bigger bands that ever came out of my area back in the day was a band called the Sharks. And I mentioned them in the Talk thing, Andrew. They're a band that got signed. Well, they got signed to Elektra, but they won the inaugural MTV Basement Tapes. If you look that up on YouTube, you'll find it. And they won that, which was a recording contract, a 4-song EP or something. They got to go out and open for Blondie, or I forget, some, this is 1985, 84 or something like that. But these guys were great. They wrote great fucking pop. Kind of, do you guys remember? You will remember this, Chuck. You might not know it, Andrew. But do you remember, were they called the Romantics, the ones that did that Talking in Your Sleep?
Mm-hmm.
And they did It's What I Like About You.
Yeah.
I know that song.
So they were kind of like the Romantics, only a little bit more rocky, a little bit heavier, and great dual harmonies. And they won this thing. Their video was shot in New York City. It's a terrible video when I look back at it now. It's like, oh man, that's pretty cheesy for 1983 or 84 or whatever. But then they went in, they cut this EP, and then Elektra just didn't do shit with it. Didn't do a damn thing with it. And they ended up, the big dreams of becoming big rock stars never really happened. But I'll tell you, they got some great songs. Really, really great songs. And they are playing. Okay, so the lead singer, Sam Rawhauser, died in '09 of lung cancer at 55. But
Nice.
his son started singing for the band when he hit about 2013, 2014, when he was like 21 or 22. Sounds just like him, looks a lot like him, plays guitar. And so they started doing like these reunion shows once a year without, and then they actually did some touring again with Ian, his kid, and now they just do an occasional here and there. But now it's Ian, the singer and guitar player, the original guitar player, Steve Zero, and Shay, the bass player. And Shay's remained active in the rock thing all around this area for years and years and years. Great singer, great songwriter. They're actually playing there like the weekend before, and their tickets are like $15. I'm like, well, I'll go to that all day. Corey Feldman can eat me raw. That's never happened, you know.
Corey Feldman, son of Marty Feldman, right? Or are they not even related?
I don't think they're related.
I don't think so.
Were you on the streams when we watched the Corey Feldman by the pool stuff? Were you on those?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Oh God.
Did you ever see
Yeah.
those, Andrew?
No.
Are
y'all
there's
talking
like
about,
12 or 16 people around the pool or something?
Yeah, there's
else?
like maybe 30 people all swimming and drinking, and nobody's really paying attention. He's up there. He's got a backing track, and his angels, I think it's his wife or one of his wives or whatever deal. She's up there like pressing one key at a time, triggering MIDI tracks on a laptop. That he's up there doing his Michael Jackson shit too, and it's.
Are you
crazy.
talking about the same Corey Feldman from the Goonies?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
55 years old, and he's out there chasing dreams of rock stardom.
Yeah.
And it's his music oh God, his music is just god awful, dude.
Oh, it's fucking horrific. Horrific.
I'm curious about this best version of Deadhead. Now, what is that? A song?
The song.
It's a Devin Townsend song. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it's not anything like the Grateful Dead.
All right.
Thankfully.
It's
Hey now, fighting words.
it's a killer fucking song.
Is it? I might have to check that out.
But way heavier than You're Dead by far. I love that album, Accelerated Devolution. That's a killer album, man. Sunshine on there, oh, so good. A legend in the post-ironic world, yeah. A legend in his own mind is really what it comes down to, yeah. But
I know a guy that reminds me of Corey Feldman quite a lot musically. I'm not going to say who, but his music reminds me of Corey Feldman's music. And
wait, who is this?
I don't want to say his name because I don't want the guy to get a bunch of hate or whatever.
No, that's cool. He's a friend of yours or what?
I went to middle school and he's like this Michael Jackson nut. We'll leave that part of that, but yeah, he makes music, if you can call it that. It's pretty funny though. I just don't openly make fun of him because I don't want to burst the bubble.
You know, I make fun of Corey Feldman, but let's be honest.
Guy went through some stuff, man.
There's he did, and there's a lot of one-man black metal bands that are making shit in their bedroom that I wouldn't go see either. I wouldn't play
Lamp of Murmur.
Well, I don't. I've listened to them a little bit. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't understand it.
The new album is just like a ripoff of Immortal. I'd rather just listen to the new Immortal album. Honestly.
Yeah. I haven't even checked out that new Immortal, man.
There's an instrumental set. There's like a 7-minute instrumental song. I wouldn't really call it progressive, but it was definitely my favorite song on the album. It reminded me of like Plateau of the Ages by Agalloch was kind of like the closest comparison I could draw. So
Are you going to go? Do you know CJ? Do you know CJ at all from our streams?
No, not like personally.
But you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
He's actually flying out to that Agalloch gig. I think.
Man, if I wish I was fucking flying out to one of those because I got into those guys when they were broken up, and
Right.
I thought never in a million years they'd get back together until I saw your interview back in. I saw the interview like in January that you did with Don, and I remember texting my friend. I was like, you know, I think me and you both are like me and her are both like, well, I don't think we'll ever see this band live, but I sent her that interview. I'm like, I think they'll probably come back in a few years and 4
Well,
months.
he must have known something then. I think there was already talk at that point, and they had kind of reconvened their friendship, and they kind of worked out him and Jason and Don, anyways. The what's his name, the Aesop or whatever. Apparently, him and John are kind of no go.
I think that's kind of something I had heard through a grapevine, like they just. And that's fine, you know.
Yep. Well, they got what's his name? They've got what's his name?
Again.
Hunter. Yeah, Hunter.
He's in a Sculptured now, which I really love. Sculptured.
Oh, that's right. He's in Sculptured too. That's right.
Dude, that band is so underrated. Like nobody fucking talks about Sculptured. Like Apollo Ends is like truly a masterpiece.
The only thing I don't particularly love about Sculptured is I'm not crazy about the vocalist. I think he's kind of I'm not.
Like the singer Don's growls.
No, the Don's growls are great.
Mm-hmm.
It's the which I was shocked to hear that was Don when I did the interview with him. No, the other dude, the clean singer. He's got that.
It's a weird voice, but I kind of like it. I'm a fan of that band Vedwin's End, so I'm kind of
it's got that kind of affected. It's an affected. What's the word I'm looking for? Nah, not dialect. What's that when somebody has a shit? Are you serious? See, this is my disease.
Well, like a lisp or whatever.
No, it's when you have a dialectical thing, like you're from the South. What's that called? When you
dialogue or
no,
not dialogue.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Accent.
Accent.
Yeah. He's got that weird sort of accent, and there are some people, like sometimes that just does not work for me. Sometimes it does, like Alcest. I love Tunisia's voice, and I don't mind, but it's in French anyway, so who knows what the fuck he's saying. But, it's like there's some guys that I hear that accent, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't work for me.
I have kind of like a weird, I'm not going to speak on what the guy may or may not have done, but like I've kind of got like a thing about weird vocals that I can get past. I'm not going to speak on what the guy may or may not have done, but Inquisition, they got those really weird frog sounding vocals, and I was able to get past those whenever I was listening to that band. Again, I'm not really.
Is that the Creeper dude?
Allegedly, I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
Yeah,
could just be me not wanting to believe it 100%, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying. Yeah,
he's a little bit sketch, man. I heard a song, I liked it, then I kind of found out a little bit, and I'm like, I'm not going down that road.
I just kind of like try to tune that weird shit out.
Yeah, well, you and I talked about this with DSO.
Yeah.
And that's your choice. I don't tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. It's a personal thing, right?
I know I see a lot of people say that if you can't separate the art from the artist, you're a pussy, you're this or that, you're weak, you're a snowflake liberal, this or that. But it's like, I don't know, man. The art is kind of like intertwined with who someone is as a person,
Well, it's definitely the artist is the source of that art is from that person.
Yeah, man.
So it's emanating from them. So
I do not think you can really fully separate art from the artist. That's my opinion. It's just kind of like
see, my whole thing is this: if you're going to give an artist, let's say, for example, DSO, is OSPA getting any money out of that deal? If you're buying something, is he getting some financial remuneration? If he is, then I'm not going to be there. That's just me.
No, that's fair.
And I'm not going to judge anybody else, because I won't lie to you. I like a lot of DSO sound. I think it's very unique. It certainly is. They were one of those bands that were on the forefront and cutting edge of that weird, angular, dissonant black metal sound, and it was kind of proggy and kind of atonal and strange. And I like that. But when I really found out who that guy was, and we're going all the way back now to what was that, 980? How long they been around?
They've been around, I think, since just 2000.
Really?
I don't know if they did. They had a pre-Deathspell Omega album without Aspa or anything. It was Hero Lorn, or like this band called Hero Lorn. They put out one album, then they broke up, and then they formed Deathspell Omega as like or I think maybe the guitar player formed it as a side project. I don't know.
No, they've been around since '98. I remember a friend of mine downloaded some stuff off of like a P2P thing, back in the old days. Chuck, you remember those days?
Yeah, yeah.
I know what that is.
Off of Napster.
Yeah. Napster, yeah. It was probably LimeWire. And he burned me the first 2 or 3. I can't remember. And I was like, man, this shit's fucking weird and so cool, but weird, right? And then somewhere along the line, someone's like, well, you know about that guy, right? And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, okay. And, I know you sent me some information that says those 4 guys are kind of separate from his thing, but he's still getting money out of it. So that's where I have a problem with it. That's why I'm not going to support them because of him. They can find some other dude. He's not critical to the sound, in my opinion.
No.
There's a lot of guys that do the.
And on the newest album, they had Mortis from Marduk and the dude from Magua do vocals.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. I think Aspa's still on it a little bit, but it was like 50%, maybe 50% Aspa, and then the other portion was the guy from Marduk and the guy from Magua, which I think, if they don't want to deal with Aspa anymore, they could get Mortis from Marduk to do it. I thought he sounded really great. Plus,
that's
Funeral Mist is pretty great too.
That's cool. You can do that. I do not tell other people what they can and should not do. That's fine. But there's a whole lot of good music out there. I don't need to support people that are
exactly
Nazis.
Get you.
I don't need to support Nazis.
I give Panopticon all my money all day of the week.
Yeah, right.
I agree with everything Austin says. I agree with most of it, but not maybe not to the degree he does. But I would much rather my money go to when I buy that stuff, I buy it off secondhand Discogs if I even buy it, so, just because I don't want having my
Chuck isn't saying anything. He's a firm favorite of that Philosophum album.
I'm not saying
I don't own any birds.
Tip my hand.
I don't own any either, man, and I won't.
It's not that great. It's okay at best, but out of all those Norwegian bands from that time, I think Burzum was by far the worst.
Well, the thing, that first album.
Bard's a dick.
Well, it's funny because we were talking. I had people ask me, well, hey, can we show that on this thing Saturday? I'm like, yeah, you can show it, but understand that I'm going to have a disclaimer, and I'm going to talk about the fact that the channel does not support that. I do not support that guy personally. The fact that you have it in your collection is on you. I don't want you to think that I don't like you because of it, or we can't be friends. That's not the case. But I truly don't get it with Burzum. I just don't get it. It's, do I really want to listen to a guy go, ah, ah, ah? It's it just doesn't do anything for me, The music's cool, but the vocals are kind of ear bleeding inducing, and I just don't understand it, and I'm not, the truth of the matter is I'm not a huge fan of De Mysterious and most Mayhem either. I'm just not that into it. Doesn't mean I can't like other stuff. I tend to like the Enslaved and the, the Emperors and the stuff that to me is a lot more musically challenging and more melodic in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I like I said, I told all the guys doing this thing on Saturday, I'm like, guys, I'm gonna be like Joe, Mr. Obvious. Like a lot of my stuff's gonna be like,
Storm of Lights, Bane, In the Night Side.
Yeah, all the stuff that if you really think about it, you're gonna be like, oh, not all, but I mean, I do have a couple of cool ones in there that I think.
Sacramento, Far Away from the Sun is. I don't know.
Sacramento.
I'm going to see them. That
might be in there. There's a whole bunch of them, so it's going to be interesting to see. And we've got 10 guys, so plus Rick. I didn't really.
10 guys and Rick.
What's that?
10 guys and Rick.
Well, I can only put 10 on the screen.
Oh, right.
Rick is going to a wedding that night, so he can't be with us, but he's going to be with us.
Okay.
I think he's going to drop a video with his picks on, so that's kind of the plan. But we hope anyway. But yeah, so guys, I'm probably going to wrap it up here. I've been up all day long. Chuck, you hang on a little bit. I want to talk to you privately a minute. Andrew, I think I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll catch up at some time, and we'll definitely do one of those. What did I call it? I don't even remember what it's called now.
It was like a deconstruction or whatever.
Yeah, what the fuck? I don't even know the name of my own series.
I think that's what you called it. It was like some
Definitive
sort of
albums deconstructed.
Yeah.
That sound right? Definitive album. Yeah.
Sounds like you need flashcards.
Yeah, actually, this is funny, though. Hey, Glenn, what's up, dude? Good to see you. We're about ready to wrap up.
Yes, it was hilarious.
Yeah, Varg's channel was a never-ending source of sick comedy, though. I mean, that I will admit. I have
a fairly dark sense of humor, so I kind of just sit there and laugh at the dude saying stupid.
I'm trying to remember, how long ago was that now? Was that 15,
5
16?
years.
Oh, it's 5.
Yeah.
So about 17
years since it got just deleted.
You know what we're talking about, Chuck?
No, I have no idea.
All right, so
he's probably better off for not knowing.
Well, no, I always like to fill my good buddy in. So back when Norwegian black metal, the first wave of Norwegian black metal came along, there was a bunch of dipshit young kids that thought that basically wanted to out evil each other, and so they did all kinds of crazy shit like burn churches and like literally burn beautiful old centuries-old churches to the ground as a sign of coolness, in Satan's name to burn the church down.
Sounds like a bunch of punks.
And then one of the main guys was this guy named Oysten. Fuck, what was his last name? Arseth, that's it. Oysten Arseth. And he was the guitar player. He was the guitar player for and one of the main dudes behind the band Mayhem, which is kind of one of those early big names of the Norwegian black metal first wave. So there was a guy named Varg Vikernes who was kind of like his rival, They were friends, then they weren't friends, then they were friends, and then Northern Silence put out the first album, right? The first Burzum album.
Yeah, they put out the first couple, I think.
Maybe. But Vikernes, paranoid, crazy racist, crazy psycho, thought that Oysten was, or Euronymous was his nickname. All these guys have to have weird nicknames. And actually, Varg Vikernes was Count Grishnak. That was his
Lord of the Rings thing.
Black metal name, right? So queer. But long story short, what ended up happening was Varg felt Euronymous was disrespecting him, and he claims that he got word that Euronymous was going to kill him, so instead he'd get to jump on him and go after him and kill him first. Plus, I think he owed him money or something. He owed him money for sales of the albums or something. So Vikernes and some other dude drive to Euronymous' apartment.
It was Snora Rush from Thorns.
Snora Rush, right, from Thorns. And they go up there, and they basically, Snora, I think, stays outside, allegedly, I believe. And Varg goes in, and basically, what did he do? He stabbed him, like
23 times.
23 times.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I mean, he was dead after the first 2 or 3, and then he just kept stabbing. So, and the crazy thing is, in Norway, you can do that and only get like 14 years in prison.
The
They
dude
don't
from
have a death
Dissection
penalty.
only got like 7 years in prison in Sweden for
Yeah.
being an accessory to murder. So, I mean,
So yeah, it was kind of one of those really weird sort of eras of music that the silliness and goofiness around it got more notoriety than the music did early on. You know, there was a book written called The Lords of Chaos that I remember coming out. What do you remember when that came out? Was that like 2010?
I think the book came out in like 1990, like the late 90s, early 2000s. Maybe.
Oh, was it really?
I think so. And then the movie came out in like 2018.
Oh, that came out, yeah, a couple years back. Yeah, it's
2019 maybe. It was that suicide scene that makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. The singer, the original singer for the Mayhem band, blew his brains out.
And you can
right
see
there.
the whole damn thing too.
And they show it. Pretty graphic. Yeah, pretty graphic in the movie.
So he videoed it.
Yeah, a bunch of weird dudes, man. But anyway, all right, Andrew, I'm going to kick you off to talk to Chuck for a few minutes, and we'll catch up then, and we'll get on like an Opeth thing, or you know, there's a bunch of bands I'm sure we could talk about doing. I'm glad you hopped on. You had a lot of great comments about the band. I'm super stoked that a really young guy. You're what, 19?
20.
20. Okay, it's cool that a young guy like you is into a band like Talk Talk. I love seeing that. It's so cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially when your preferred music is black metal and death metal and all that stuff, but yet you like a lot of stuff, and it's cool.
I've even gotten into like progressive rock, like Eloy and Camel and Gentle Giant.
Good bands. Ooh, look at you. Now you're talking about that.
I even got you into Triumph.
And I've got like some not Marissa now. I got some like Nick Drake and Townes Van Zandt over there.
Oh, nice.
I've got my CD stack of new CDs that don't fit on my shelf, and Are you doing a channel? Not anymore. I've thought about doing it. I was going to call it the Celestial Emporium or whatever, but I think I'm going to just use that channel for like either old demos that I find or like my own music or whatever.
Nice.
But I thought about doing something with it.
Cool, man. Well, dude, good to meet you finally. And cool, we got a chance to connect and hang out a little bit, and we'll work on some. And one of these days, hopefully, if I have time, we'll get Nate to join us finally. He keeps threatening. He's like there, but he never jumps on. But good to see you, Glenn. Thanks, man. Actually, guys, hang on a sec. I'm going to wrap up here, but you guys stick around for a minute.